My narcissistic sister ruins family bonds for attention. Now she only has me.
Well.
Who's she gonna ruin next? Trigger warning, we talk about some extremely dangerous scenarios with natural disasters. If that is a trigger for you, I would recommend skipping to the next story next episode. Thank you. Let's get into it. This is the story of my sister, 35 female, Jill, and her journey to proving to everyone everywhere that she's the queen of narcissism.
The Lord of egotism.
Love that. But I'll let y'all be the judge of that. By the way, this comes from Lizzie Boo. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime. Send them in. To set the stage, Jill and I are the youngest of 5 in a blended family. The oldest from my mom in a prior marriage and the other 2 from my dad's side. My sister and I were the only full siblings from our parents, Jill being the baby. Growing up, she was voted most likely to succeed. I was voted most likely to disappoint.
Why was that an option?
Most likely to be a loser.
You gotta have a rock bottom somewhere.
Yeah, right?
Dang.
You have to have a... For the most likely to succeed to mean something, you gotta show the spectrum,
Your
right?
school sounds like a nightmare.
Shout out to Florida's education system.
What kind of 80s high school is this?
Woo!
High school movie, I meant.
This is the truth. Fast forward to age 19, Jill has found Alan and decides that now is the time to get pregnant. So Jill makes sure to get pregnant. Our family practices a very strict religion, so our father naturally insists on marriage. Alan and Jill agree, and they began planning the wedding. Here's where we get a good first look at the narcissism I speak of.
Classic.
First, Jill and Alan already were in decent credit card debt, so to start their family and marriage debt-free, our parents had to pay their debts clear.
Dang.
That's
nice of them.
It depends on how much it is, but I'm guessing that was not nothing, even on the lower end. It's like thousands,
no cheap change.
Tens of thousands maybe. My mother gifted Jill my parents' original wedding bands. Wow. They helped with the wedding and offered to buy reasonably priced dresses.
Yeah, very fair. They've already paid off the credit card debt.
Might as well throw in $1,000, $5,000 dress. The first thing my sister buys on her paid credit card is the expensive wedding dress she really wanted, and then return the one my mother got her. Let's run that debt back up, baby.
She's like, I know that you just paid off my credit card debt, but what if I ran up some more?
But she said, I'm LeBron and I'm putting numbers on the board.
Yay.
I'm trying to be the best at debt ever, growing it. And then my sister conveniently loses the wedding bands my mother gave her, forcing them to find her better quote unquote bands. Any contribution made to the wedding was met with more expectations or disapproval.
No.
After the wedding, we all figured it would all work out. After all, Alan and Jill did seem to work well together, and now they have the most amazing, perfect little baby boy. All seems great with normal relationship struggles.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it, John.
What do you mean? Kids fix relationships.
You're right.
This is a fact.
My parents stayed together after they had me.
So you saved their relationship.
Yep.
So
Living proof.
What I'm hearing is that you need to hire Riley
To be your child.
to be your child.
Okay.
You can make business out of that.
Right?
Just double the price of whatever these guys are paying me, and I'll do it.
Not allowed.
No, you're stuck here.
Hey, we'll start a bidding war. At this time, I unfortunately fell into I need a word for this.
Substance problem.
A substance problem and a need, very strong need.
A strong need.
And left home for a few years, rarely contacting family. I did come home to meet baby number 2, a beautiful baby girl, my mini-me, and I was understandably kept at a distance.
Oof.
Fast forward a few years, and I met my husband, and we eventually got into a serious car accident and sustained significant injuries and survived life-saving measures. My God. We came home, got married, went to rehab a few times. We have 7 years clean in 20 days.
Congrats. Wow.
Hey, OP, celebrate that. And we were able to live with my parents while we worked on jobs, and I worked on walking again after the accident. Dude,
Wow.
OP, really, that was in 3 sentences.
A lot.
We just lived
A whole life.
quite an experience. I'm now back in the family and came in with the impression that my sister was a saint, a perfect mother and wife. A lot happened after my husband and I got married. Jill gives birth to bouncing baby number 3, another boy. Our grandma passed away. We all were and slash are deeply connected and close to her, so this still hurts and affects us all. So this is important to our action story. Action. Following our grandmother's passing, a few months later, there's a large storm that hits, causing significant flooding and dangerous conditions. My sister and her husband were in my oldest nephew's bedroom in the basement working to stop the water from coming into the windows while my nephew watched from the stairs and the baby was in the walker in the living room a short distance away.
I'm worried.
I don't like this. Their townhome was sat very low in a community next to a rapidly filling creek.
No.
While they worked on the window and moving the belongings from the wall, they didn't realize their neighbor's basement had been filling with water and the wall collapsed, taking my sister and her husband into different rooms in the basement. They were hit with cinder blocks and personal belongings, which disoriented them from finding air and direction to safety. They found air in the rafters, and my sister was able to find her way back to the window they were originally securing. There was a very high, very tiny window. My sister had 3 babies, so she wasn't small and she is a little short. The one thing that didn't float away was right there below the window was my grandmother's chair. This chair gave my sister the heightened stability she needed to work through the window. Once she screamed for Alan and he was taken to the far back of the basement, he heard her voice, followed it by working through the debris and taking time to breathe.
Oh my God.
He got to the window and my sister helped him out. They rushed to the front of the house, not knowing the extent of the damage, and found my terrified nephew holding the baby, waiting for them to hopefully come get them. My little niece was at a slumber party, thankfully.
Oh my God.
My sister and her family make their way to higher ground at a neighbor's and regroup to lay the boys down, while Jill, Alan, and their neighbor were smoking something. I say before my sorry guys, censorship. We don't know what they don't like. Before my sister planned to go back for the breast milk in the freezer, suddenly the air left their lungs at once in a gigantic cheese was now throwing them on their backs, and their home was now a burning pile of toothpicks. The water heater was trying to ignite while the gas line was leaking. Now my sister and her family have lost everything they have in the world, but luckily, no one was hurt.
Thank God.
What?
Thank God. Oh my.
Holy cow.
Jesus.
Oh God.
What?
You would think this was a humbling experience. No, this was a learning experience for all of us. I don't know if OP's setting up to be like, because we have
still sucks.
Like she's like a narcissist and everything, but God, we gotta give
her some leeway.
Some leeway, because that is
the most traumatic. Oh my God.
I think that's the most like insane survival scenario traumatic experience we've seen on the show. Honestly,
I agree.
Everyone in the community reached out and gave service to my sister's family, and it was beautiful. Their church made a short film of them and their experience. They were interviewed on the national news. The gym my sister belonged to raised funds for them. Local car dealerships helped them, put them in a van. A kind man is letting them buy their home on a generous contract to boot. New home, new car.
That's a great community.
This is great. Yeah, seriously. Where do you live?
Yeah.
Let's move there. All I heard when she would go through donations was, why don't some of these people just send gift cards or something?
Huh?
Okay.
What? What do you want a gift card to Chili's? How's that going to help you?
Another quote. I thought someone would have at least given us one of these. Then the insurance money came. Can you guess what the first purchase my sister demanded she deserved to have replaced? Her wedding ring, hers, not his.
Is that the first thing that needs to be replaced?
Now she has this gaudy, huge, expensive wedding ring set.
And didn't she like on purpose lose the wedding ring set that
she lost the family heirloom wedding set. Then parents bought another set that she said was better. That was lost in the disaster.
So this is her third ring set.
Third. Like, can we...
And we just keep going up in price.
We just keep going up in price, and we keep losing them.
Yeah.
And you know what's so sad? I feel like we had an episode recently where it was like the mother-in-law the mother-in-law threw a ring down a drain, but we theorized that she had secretly kept it. OP theorized that too. I bet she actually secretly did keep the family heirlooms, but now they're actually gone.
That's why I think when OP was like, lost it. Yeah, I don't buy it.
Well, fast forward now about a year to when I worked with Alan and worked close to my sister's house. I would visit them on lunch while she ran her in-home daycare. I eventually got annoyed and didn't come over anymore. When I'd go, I'd be working, because she certainly wasn't. Okay. TV show was on and she was curled up with her phone while 1 to 2 infants were in a car seat in front of her. A car seat? That's crazy. Oh my God. And 4 to 5 kids ranging from 2 to 8 downstairs with the door shut. Going nuts. I'm sorry, but the scene of like moms watching TV.
Yeah.
There's 2 babies strapped into car seats.
They're not in the car.
In a room, not in the car.
In the same car seat?
In
or in
2
separate car
seats. And then there's 2 to 8 more children locked in a room going freaking bananas.
Like,
just going crazy. Free for all. No supervision whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
ooh, boy.
Sounds like my house near Christmas.
Right?
Riley's
Without the
locked
car
in
seats.
the
Without the car
That's
seats.
a car seat.
Yeah, those babies are getting played with.
Hey,
all the other ones are going crazy.
At least the children get to run around in like
Yeah.
a living room and like open areas.
Yeah.
These kids are locked
They're
in a
locked
closet.
in a closet.
Just run out of closet. I was being hyperbolic in a room.
They're just going back and forth.
All right.
It's fair.
She's got to pack as many kids as possible so she can afford her next wedding ring purchase.
Well, at least the kids are ready to go in case it happens again.
Yeah.
In case the house decides
if,
to
you know,
explode.
If the babies
They're
already
ready
are in the
to
car
go,
seats, you
man.
just pick up the car
Oh,
seats and you go.
Maybe it's a trauma response.
I don't know, guys. Oh, Opie says, I forgot to mention there's a door going out to the backyard from the basement. A few occasions I'd see kids from the kitchen window and tell Jill the kids were no longer to the backyard from the basement, so they're escaping the room and just like they're like I'm imagining like a 4-year-old just be like,
I'm just hearing Opie going, Jill, your kids are out again.
what's
Jill,
other
the
people's
kids have
kids? It's for her in-home daycare. She's charging parents
the
for
kids
this.
have gotten out again.
The kids are freaking going crazy. And she'd get upset and scream at them to get back inside the house, shut the door, and then return to her phone.
You're not a good babysitter.
It's truly not. Our mom basically did her job for her. There's always something else happening that Jill can't be there to watch the kids. She's getting paid to watch. So my mom packs up her work and goes to watch the kids for her. At this point, my husband and I focus more on taking a few more steps forward in our story. So I only got bits and pieces of Jill. When they would leave town, we would all take part in watching their home and pups. When asking for the same in return, watching my cats, which is easier, you feed them, leave once. The pups require several potty breaks, feedings in the morning and night. Listen, I got a cat and that thing is like AI. It self-regulates. Okay.
It is true. It is true. He just puts on the TV and it's good to go.
And you go, what's the weather today? And it goes, meow.
Our cat watches OK Storytime
I've heard.
to feel comfortable,
And I love that.
to ease her
And
anxiety.
you too can watch OK Storytime to feel comfortable.
Aha!
Do you guys watch OK Storytime to feel comfortable?
Me?
Not you.
Oh.
You're here.
I watch it to feel uncomfortable.
Oh, God.
Sometimes I go back and watch myself and cringe.
I go back and watch myself and I'm like, I'm pretty funny.
I'm quite a comedian.
It was at this time I learned what's behind the curtain with Jill and Alan. Jill reaches out and tells me that she's done with her marriage.
Oh.
She's trapped.
Oh no.
She's married too young. She doesn't love Alan. She just wants to see what's out there and just live her life. Hoo. Ah. They've been married at this point for 10 years. She wants to live her life, man.
Live life.
Dump them.
Breathe air.
Breathe air.
I don't know how they're going to get there.
It feels so wonderful.
Without 15 children crawling over our furniture.
It's all for real, though.
I'm telling you just how I feel.
Sister does what any logical person would do in this scenario. So sister proceeds to cheat. Sister proceeds to cheat.
No!
Sister
She's
proceeds
not
to
trapped
cheat.
anymore, guys.
She's not trapped. Here she is.
Yeah. Tell Alan ASAP. Please.
Yeah, please tell Alan.
Please. This is justified by her finding out that Alan was paying for online video interactions and talking to other girls on apps. Well, I mean, talking to other girls on apps. That is, and also the online video interactions. I mean,
So you're
guys.
both cheating.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great relationship.
So he did go so far as to exchange pictures and texts with my sister's elementary school friend.
Okay.
And at the time was also their roommate.
An adult.
An adult, to be clear. So yeah, he messed up too. My sister took all of this as a green light to do what she wants.
Oh boy.
She lied about a girl's trip and flew out to meet another guy. Hey, at least she's getting flown out. This actually happened twice with different guys, by the way. Fast forward to my sister going to college, further her career, meaning Alan has to be a stay-at-home dad and provider while she studied for 2 years for her degree. I should mention our parents literally paid money for her to go to school and even the extra fees to retake failed tests.
No. You get one shot, you don't make it. That's on you, man.
That's it.
Hey, you miss every shot you don't take. That's what
Yep.
she
Yes.
said.
There.
So there you go.
You take that.
Now, the agreement was that she would get her degree and job, and then she'd hold things down while Alan tried to get his business off the ground. The minute she got her degree, she asked for a divorce. And with her sign-on bonus, she got her own apartment.
Wow. Honestly, she played that right.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking just like savage, like financial business moves, she moved like a shark.
Yep. It's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, her.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, she got divorced and got bank.
And then gave it all away.
Oh, well, that's
But that's pretty sick move.
It's a great move.
Yeah. Pretty pro gamer move.
It was a program. My mom, fun fact, my mom, when she worked at Goodwill, received one of those things to her Goodwill that she was working at.
dude. Shout out John's mom.
Shout out my mama.
Yep. You see how everything is revolved around John. He just makes everything about him.
Honestly, we need to get more people to go and marry billionaires and steal all the money and then give it all away.
Yeah. Sophia, I think there's like an older one in like North Hollywood. He's like about 90. He's a billionaire. You could work on that.
We read a story about that, right? That episode's still alive, right?
Nah, it can't be. Only like the top billionaires.
Okay, he is.
He's a top billionaire?
Oh yeah, he's 90 and a top billionaire.
Who is this?
I'll tell you if you're really interested.
I'll look you
I'll
guys up.
introduce you to him.
I'll set you guys up. What was happening here?
We're going to get back to it. Obi said she did what she wanted and told everyone he did things to her and she was a victim. Ooh, who was lucky to escape. Oh, man.
Is she being truthful?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. If I'm reading in between the lines, I guess OP believes that she's not being truthful. Guys, these are very, very, very serious things and accusations. At this point, everyone is upset with her decisions, and she now feels unsupported, so she won't talk to anyone, which means limited access to the littles. Fast forward, Alan is meeting his new girlfriend, who has 3 littles of her own.
Oh my gosh, that's like 8. That's
We're freaking multiplying.
You're 4
Cheaper by the
away from
dozen
cheaper by
right
the
here.
dozen.
Well, I think they had 3 kids. They were watching the others in the daycare.
Oh, okay.
But still.
Okay, half a dozen.
Yeah. Alan decided not to pay for the mortgage for 6 months and was at risk of losing the house. Oh no. Jill refused to help as she feels that he needs to find a place he can afford. Alan's new girlfriend puts up $6,000 plus to save the house and moves in. Honestly, thank God, because then they would lose all the money they put into it. My sister shortly after, and I didn't even think about it, but that's crazy that you can just like be paying off a house and then if you just miss enough payments, they just like take it from you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. My sister shortly after meets her new boyfriend who has a grown kid and a younger kid. Now things erupt and complicated bitter negativity. A divorce request was filed. Over the next year, things get messy. The kids get along great with Alan's new girlfriend and kids, and they equally liked my sister's boyfriend as well. At this time, my sister's boyfriend lost his car and shared my sister's car. This meant that my father had to be the primary transportation for the kids to get to school and appointments. The same father who put her through school, helped with countless expenses, never saw a dime for gas. He had to travel long distances for her, nor did she ever offer a service or to thank him and my mother while she still had yet to pay them back for even just the schooling other than a reimbursement payment she received, and my parents had to ask her to pay them back. Man, that's...
Ali, what?
My parents have always been there to help us kids, but my sister truly takes the cake. At this point, my father retired and explained it all to us. The bank of dad was closed.
Shoo.
To Jill, that didn't apply to her.
Of course not. Jill gets everything she wants.
She gets it all. She shows up at my parents' house asking my father to buy or sign for a used car for her to have, and she'd give her current car to her new boyfriend of 4 months.
She's like, have I got a deal for you? I'm going to give away my current car, and then you're going to get me a new one.
It's perfect.
Take it or leave it.
Bank of Daddy reopened. Hooray! And I get everything I want. And that's the way it's supposed to work.
What the heck?
My father, seeing through this, stated that he knew this was a plan to get her boyfriend a car. He asked the right questions about why he couldn't make this work himself for a man in his mid-40s. And the boyfriend didn't have much for answers.
He's like, why can't you buy your own car? And he's like, well,
He's like looking at the girlfriend for
he's like, well, she said that you would buy me a car, and I thought it would be really cool if you bought me a car.
I'm a growing boy.
I'm a big boy. Whoa, I'm blurry.
I'm this many decades.
I'm just years old, and I wanted a car, and my girlfriend said she would buy me a car,
And now you say no.
and that doesn't seem very fair.
You wire.
Yep. And then they lock him in the basement with the other kids.
Oh,
He starts
no.
running
Wait,
around.
actually, no. Never mind. We don't lock him in the
Yeah,
basement
don't
with the other kids. I thought he would just go nuts and bananas, but like, let's not do that. He goes in the basement by himself and goes nuts.
There we go.
Bad optics.
So my sister stood up to leave. My dad asked if she planned to stay and visit. She asked, what else was there left to say? And left.
Dang.
He's like, oh, hey, do you want to like hang out? And like, she's just like, you're
She's
like, not giving me
you're not giving me money, so
what like point do I have of being
why
there?
else would I be talking to you?
Fast forward 2 months, and now my sister has a financial blimp causing her to be short on groceries. She reached out to my mother, who reminded her that any money questions need to include my father, and she invited her and her boyfriend over for dinner. My sister declined, saying she's not going over there just to be rejected, and asked to talk by phone instead. She can't even be bothered to go in person to beg for money.
Yeah, she can't even like go like try and go under the guise that she actually wants to see her parents.
Yeah. At least fake it so
Yeah.
maybe they feel like, oh, she's here.
Trying again. Yeah, we'll give her money. No, she can't even do that.
Dude.
She's silly.
Obviously, this conversation didn't go her way, so my mom offered to shop her cupboards and get whatever she needed for the week to help. She's like selling her plates.
Come on.
Don't sell anything for her. My sister said no thanks. She's fine on her own. Okay, thank God.
Yeah, at least she has some standards. Not standards, but
The mom is
morals.
like, well,
I can sell my last plate for you. And she's like, I guess that would be bad.
she's like, well, I don't have much, but I got this shirt off
I
my
got
back.
this shirt off my
But
back.
it's the last one after I bought you 10th wedding ring.
And I've got all my teeth left. I suppose I could sell those. And a kidney. I don't need both of them.
Oh my God, dude.
She's like, I guess that's too
Plasma?
far.
You need some
I don't have any eggs yet.
The human body is is bank. There's a lot of things you can sell.
But an old human body, though.
Hey, you can get creative.
Oh, God. So this led to the threat of her and her little ones not coming to Christmas, which was the only time all the little cousins could get together. And we had traditions we now had to adjust. We try to change Jill's mind, but she insists she's not coming. We make adjustments to the games we play, that she's not coming, and we plan accordingly. 2 days before the Christmas gathering. Guys, let's put an ICU in the comments if you see.
What's happening here?
If you freaking see.
If you're freaking seeing a you.
If you're seeing a you. 2 days before our Christmas gathering, she hints in the family text group that she might be coming. Yeah, we don't need to coordinate that at all with you and your family of 5.
It's like, you might or may not see me there. Who's to say? I don't know.
I might make an appearance. I might
Dot. Winky face. And everyone's like, what does that mean? Are you coming? And she's like, I don't know.
She's like a highfalutin society girl trying to be like all cool and elusive.
Maybe
like,
I'll be there. Maybe I won't.
I might make an appearance.
Or maybe I'm too busy.
I thought that the reason why the kid didn't come was because she could go steal the toys, sell the toys, and then somehow eat food with their groceries.
I mean, basically hey, honestly, you take Thanksgiving dinner, that's groceries for like 2 weeks right there.
It's so true. Just take some leftovers.
I'm warned not to scare her away in fear she'll change her mind. We readjust the games again, but not good enough because now there's extra kids now that the BF is with her as well. Remember, they have 6 children. This means there wasn't enough presents, so we forfeited our adult gifts that passes kids' gifts to balance it out.
What are adult gifts that pass as kid gifts?
Maybe like a
Starbucks gift card?
something like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, what does a phone case? I don't know.
If the children have phones?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
It's like a bottle of wine and they're like, here you go, children.
Yeah, it's got to be something, right? Socks? They don't fit their little feet. Anyway, we're not going to try to figure this out. We have a story to read. Then there is the extreme PDA.
Oh.
She was on her boyfriend's laps, facing him with her legs wrapped around.
Whoa. Okay.
Dude, she's freaking.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Dude, this is a spicy dancing club performance in the Christmas living room,
Yikes.
and making out with him in front of everybody.
Whoa, we ain't at the club.
Going. Remember, our parents practice a very strict religion.
She does not give an F.
Remember that the last thing she said to my father was, "Thanks for nothing," when he wouldn't give her money for her groceries. This all put us on ick mode, and we couldn't leave fast enough. On Christmas Eve, Jill decides to break up with her boyfriend. On Christmas Eve? You couldn't wait like
After
Hey,
making
24
out with
hours?
him in front of everyone?
Yeah.
She has to give herself a gift, all right?
She's like, you know what? This relationship has progressed to its natural end.
And
And I'd like us to go our separate ways.
conspiracy theory, she's already talking to another guy at this point.
Ooh, yeah, I don't put it past her. She's already cheated on her last person.
She's got to give her Christmas gift to someone else this year.
Right. Oh God. Man, she's giving it to everyone.
Yeah, and
When
that's
Santa
called
said ho,
Christmas
ho, ho,
train!
she said bet.
said the Christmas cheer is meant for us all.
La, 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 la.
She said it was because of the emotional intensity and can't handle him being emotional and crying when she doesn't give him attention. She can't stand his son. And she didn't tell him, but she's wanting to get back with Alan to work things out. Her now
But
ex.
Alan's with someone else, isn't he?
Yes.
Isn't he the one with the 3 other kids? I'm pretty sure he's the one dating someone with 3 kids.
You might be right. I might be wrong.
And she's dating someone with 1 kid.
Well, her now ex cried and pleaded, then ultimately put on a Christmas morning face for presents till her littles were picked up by Alan and he packed up his things and left. Jill already texted Alan, giving him the green light and telling him that she'll do anything to gain his trust and work on things, and she cancels the divorce process. Alan doesn't respond.
Dang.
She promises to wait for him. Again, no response.
It's embarrassing.
I threw a brrr party for her littles.
A birthday party?
A birthday party, I guess, for her littles to enjoy some quality time with their aunt and uncle making gingerbread houses. Maybe it's like a snow in, like a cozy.
A little burr party.
I'm cold bird.
Baby, it's cold outside.
They had burr baskets, played games, and had pizza and apple pie,
Hey, yo.
like a real American. This was the most time we had with them and loved every minute. However,
No.
we learned from the kids a bit more truth on what Jill had been sharing.
Dang it.
You see, the little ones were angry Jill had broken up with her boyfriend, so she called him over. There was an emotional reunion, and she decided Alan won't leave his new girl, so she might as well get back with the boyfriend. This is such... Dude, within 24 hours, we went from I'm breaking up. We went from I'm making out with you all over. You can't get my arms off you to you're too emotional. I'm going to dump you with the whole family here on Christmas Eve. Now come Christmas Day, it's like...
I'm getting back with Alan. Alan says nothing, and now Alan doesn't like you, so she's like, nah, I guess I'm going to go back to boyfriend.
I hope he's like, I guess I got nothing better, so...
Yeah.
But eventually...
Oh, no.
Alan messages Jill saying he thought that she was going to wait for him.
These people are made for each other.
Dude.
And now she's going to freaking drop the boyfriend.
She said he never responded and the kids missed him. Alan and Jill meet to talk. And my sister promises promises no more
No
cheating.
more cheating, baby. No more cheating.
Alan said to give him 30 days to tell his girlfriend and give her a chance to get her taxes.
Because she paid for the house. She paid 4 or 6K for the
saved his
house.
house, and he's going to leave her, Sophia.
He hasn't even told her.
So he's going to give her 30 days to give her a chance to get her taxes so she'll have funds to move somewhere else.
Oh my
she literally
God, you
is waiting
monster.
on her tax refund to have any kind of money
Oh my God.
to do this. My sister's lease is up in 4 months. She's planning on kicking out this woman and her 3 kids out by the end of the month, regardless of her saving the house, improving the house, and paying half of everything the last 7 months. My sister doesn't care. Her name is on the contract. She'll just have her evicted. Wow. Now my sister is pretty much only me and any friends that only know her side. She's pushed away every family member with the exception of the oldest sibling who loves us all regardless of what we do, and myself. I've gotten to the point where I want to be more blunt and honest with her about how I feel about her actions, knowing her littles are struggling with the whole thing and it's making it a lot harder. Believe it or not, there's a lot left unsaid here. Wow.
You know what we need to do? Ezekiel says lock Jill and Alan up. I think we need to put them in the room where we had those kids. I think we take the kids out of the room.
Let them run around and go nuts. You know what I mean?
Just let them get the energy out. You
Let
know,
them loose.
let them loose.
There was a lot left unsaid. I tried to keep to the main points. So here's my query to those that stuck through the story. Can you cure narcissism? Can Alan and Jill rekindle their relationships and move on happily?
That's asking too much.
Do I risk losing access to the little ones by making Jill feel unsupported and telling her how I feel? And am I the a-hole for being a supportive role and not giving full honesty onto how she's been acting? We have some comments, but we have to answer these questions. Talk to me, Riley.
You just sound like honestly, you're giving fly on the wall kind of vibes. Even if you did say something, I doubt Jill would even say anything or do anything.
That is a great point.
Her parents, Jill's parents, are calling her out on her BS, but she's still not doing anything.
I think she'd be like, and then keep doing it.
Yeah, so just, I don't know.
And I think that she's going to get back together with Alan, and then they're going to cheat on each other again.
I have an idea to throw out there.
Yes, throw it out.
This isn't like no contact, or maybe it's like medium contact, but I'm thinking intervention. You get mom and dad, you get like everyone who has this Christmas thing who's probably like, what the F is going on? Get everyone together, get Jill in a room and be like, listen up, Jill.
Same room.
The same room the kids were in.
Yeah.
Lock the door, just like Jill did.
Yeah.
Be like, Jill, you are absolutely crazy.
Out of control.
You are absolutely out of control. There will be literally $0 going to support you. There will be zero support. If you text us, hey, I'm going to be here 2 days out of Christmas, there will be zero support for that. We would like to move forward, build a relationship, see you grow and mature and change and like all of this beautiful stuff, be in the kids' lives. But if you don't stop being a freaking crazy person, we're not going to support and enable it.
Yeah.
What do we think about that?
I think it's good. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Will it work? Who's to say?
Yeah, I think, you know what, if anything, just to let her know where the line in the sand is for them.
It's not going to cure her narcissism.
It won't.
But it will just kind of say, hey, this is what we're going to give you and what we're not going to give you.
Like, you could be like, hey, when you ask for money, I'm going to say no. And then she asks for money. It's like, can I have money? And they're like, no, I told you.
Yeah.
No. Every time you ask, you're like letting her know this is what's going to happen.
Agreed.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if I agree with my own point. But guys, let us know in the comments below what you think OP should do and if OP's an a-hole.
And there we go.
But let's get into these comments. Comment number 1, oh, Jill is toxic as heck. No, there's no cure for narcissism at the moment. The doctors haven't cracked that case. It's a full-blown personality disorder. She'll be a narcissist until she's 6 feet under. You'll have to work out how much of that you're going to want to put up with. If you say something, you'll likely lose access to your sister's kids. They're going to need someone sane around, and if you're all right living at the edge of your sister's mess, you can be the sane person in their lives. I don't know. It's tough.
I don't know.
You want to be around the kids, but
I don't think it's necessarily your responsibility.
It's not your responsibility, and
yeah.
I just think I honestly
life much harder than it's like a
I think I could be wrong. I'm like trying to think through it, but I feel like it's better to just tell her straight up what she's doing wrong.
It's like, it feels like you're trying to solve world hunger and you're just OP. You know what I mean?
You're just OP.
I don't know. Is that the fourth stretch?
Jill is world hunger. and you can't solve that alone, OP.
Oh, and she's hungry. Gosh, she's hungry for a lot.
She's insatiable.
she's chomping at the bit for some wedding rings.
Oh,
Give them to me.
Dude, I forgot about the house thing and the thing she had to survive.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
That was like the first part of the story. Dang.
And we were like, oh man, do we want to read this? Do we really think it's like, is OP just going to rag on her? It's like, oh, okay, no, she
deserves it.
She deserves it.
Yeah. Not the house thing.
Not the house. No.
To be ragged on.
Clip that. She deserves the house thing. Clip that.
Clip it. Sophia's part, not me. Cut that part out of the clip. Be nice to me. Thank you. You wouldn't be an a-hole if you didn't say anything. Alan knows what he's getting back into. Your parents are setting their own boundaries, and there's nothing you can say that will make Jill into a better person.
Ain't that the truth?
Right, that's just true. Regular people change themselves on their own timetables, and unfortunately, narcissists don't change at all.
Ain't that the truth?
Sometimes honesty actually isn't the best policy, especially around narcissists. Whoa. I've lied to narcissists in my extended family many, many times because the alternative is toddler tantrums and chaos. To which OP replies, in a way, we've always been connected and close, but mostly we didn't like each other, and she was high and I was low. Because I went low first in life, I had my experiences and I humbled myself. For all those reasons, I had to try to give her the benefit of the doubt. I think what OP's saying there is like, I, had these, the rug, the substance issues and other things. Like OP had these like hardships that kind of like humbled her
and wants to give Jill the chances that she got. Yeah,
and it seems like Jill kind of just went off, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna get married, I have these kids, we're gonna chill, and I'm gonna kind of like trying to like live the quote unquote high life to some degree, has a daycare, takes the money, locks the kids in the room until they escape into the kitchen window. Like that's my read of it.
I think so.
I at one time lived a horribly brutal life and did countless things I'll never be proud of. I was also previously married to my ex-wife and was the bad guy in that story. After trying for 5 years, I was honest with her and told her I wanted to explore my life and I wasn't happy. I was 18 when we got together and 23 when we separated. Because of this experience, I try to understand my sister's feelings when she tells me she married too young. I try to imagine she's being honest. Bro, you got to use a lot of that imagination, my friend, with herself and doing what she thinks is right. I know better now. Constantly, I'm being told how wrong I am and that she and I are different people from my best friend who's known my whole family since grade school. I know she's right, and so are you. It's fear of losing connection to the kids that runs my actions. The little girl is now 12 and literally just like me, only so much better. I have a pole to watch over her, so that if she needs me, I'm close and I'm here to catch her, listen to her, help her, guide her, be a good uncle. I can't let her go down the path I chose. It's not an option. I chose not to procreate, so they are my babies and I love them deeply. I just feel fake and like I'm lying when pointing out true feelings on topics we discuss. But you make a good point. The alternative isn't much better. I just want to sort out realistic boundaries. Now we wait to see if Alan truly does take her back. And if he does, will Jill stay? That is the $1 trillion question, my friends. Yep. I avoid her meltdowns at all costs. I've learned how to say things to her to soften the blow of what I'm telling her. So at worst, she doesn't talk to me for a few days. God. My sister prefers to delete people from her life until she needs them again. If you're against her, you're not supporting her. So now you mean nothing and you aren't worthy of her relationship, which leads to missing the little ones. She likes the assertive, dramatic exit. I'm not surprised. Sorry for me.
She likes assertive, dramatic exits. Remember earlier in the story?
Yeah, when she said, I'm leaving you on Christmas.
No. Oh, that one. But I meant like when she had to go through the window of her basement.
I mean,
that's, yeah.
I guess. So
metaphorical.
I think Alan might possibly play this out and make her suffer. I don't think he trusts she will be single and wait for him. And that's it.
Alan, get your head out of your butt, my dude.
Why are you leaving this seemingly great woman for Jill?
Yeah, come on. I know you guys were married for a long time, but like, dude, you leveled up.
It's Jill.
You know what? I just had a thought.
What is your thought?
If OP like distanced himself, gets away from her BS and like was like speaks his mind, like, listen, I don't want to deal with you. I'm going to move away from you.
Yeah.
The 12-year-old is probably at the point where it's like he can sit down with her and be like, yo, your mom's crazy.
Yeah.
But like, I want to keep a relationship with you.
Yeah, I want to hang.
Let's keep an open relationship. And then also like, in 6 years, she'll be a legal adult.
Yeah, and then she can hang whenever you want.
So it's like, I'm kind of like, I feel like even though I understand his fear of the risk of the children being taken away,
yeah.
I feel like in reality it would probably work out okay. Yeah. My best gut guess.
There's also going to be, like, even if you said something, it seems like they're still coming to family events. So, like, you'll still see them.
That's true. She needs the stuff from other people in the family.
Yeah.
So she'll show up. Well, that's the end of that story, but not the end of this episode.
My entitled sister thinks she deserves the family lake house. She ends up with nothing.
That's what you deserve. Nothing.
Background. My grandparents owned some nice land on a lake shore about 4 hours away and decided to build a little vacation house on it. They would spend every summer there at first, sometimes bringing my 2 older sisters along, the eldest entitled sister and a cool sister. By the way, this comes from Hangover Feisty, and if you want to submit your own stories, please go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, entitled sister went for the whole summer a few times without cool sister. I didn't go at this point in time because I was too young. It is important to note that while initial ownership of the land and some of the construction costs were paid for by my grandparents, it was really my dad that paid the rest of the bills, taxes, utilities, lawn service, etc., which he saw as fair enough since they helped him start his business and he loved his parents. As time went on and their health was declining, they started to go to the lake for much shorter spans of time. I think I went once or twice with them on these shorter trips, and they would go with my parents on rare occasions. They would go up in fall and a few times for the 4th of July. Those fall trips were almost exclusively to do maintenance, with a little fun on the side. Around this point in Grandpa's passing, Grandma would be around for a long time after that, though. She was always much healthier than he was. When my sisters were old enough to drive and do their own thing, an agreement was made between my dad and Grandma that my sisters could go to the lake house whenever they wanted, on the condition that every other trip they would bring Grandma with, as she couldn't drive the trip herself. Cool sister held this bargain up for the few times she went. I even got to join them for a couple of those trips. Entitled sister, what do we think, Keon?
I think she was great. I think she wasn't being entitled. I think she was just hanging out and being a great sister.
Not as much.
Oh, I thought I had it.
I think entitled sister brought Grandma to the lake house 2, maybe 3 times collectively, with a lot more trips with her husband in between than could possibly equate to every other time. Eventually, she just forgot the whole grandma take her with you thing and started just going to the lake all the time. Her forgetting Grandma got to the point that when she would come back after her trips to drop off the keys, that she was always too busy to come in and say hi to Grandma for a minute or 5. The rest of us saw this as majorly uncool. Grandma herself felt extremely betrayed by entitled sister because of that. It's worth noting that when entitled sister was little, she was most certainly my grandparents' favorite. They were always buying her things and taking her places and treating her like a princess. That probably explains why entitled sister turned out the way she did.
Hey, some people learn.
Yeah, my great grandpa would buy me so many toys growing up.
I was the firstborn of the family.
Yeah.
Like with my aunts and uncles. Oh, I was spoiled.
At this point in time, the lake house more or so belonged to my dad than anyone, even though he barely used it. Partially because he didn't have the time to go. Partially because he had too much physical pain and didn't want to make a 4-hour drive. One year for Christmas, entitled sister bought new sheets and comforters for the beds at the lake house and boxed them up and gifted them to my dad. This essentially was a gift to herself, though. At this point in time, she was the almost exclusive owner of the house. It was seen for what it was. Everyone chalked it up to her usual selfishness, but didn't call her out on it. My dad had strongly debated selling the house since only entitled sister was using it anymore. For anyone who knows what owning a house costs in America, he had a good reason for wanting to take those bills off his desk. But he decided against it as Grandma was still around and felt it would break her heart if he sold it, possibly harming her, then dwindling health. Entitled sister continued to use the house to her heart's content. with rare trips in between from my parents and even rarer from cool sister. My parents would bring grandma the few times they went, since entitled sister couldn't be bothered to do so. At this point in time, I was able to drive, but being single and not really having friends who were outdoorsy, I didn't really see the point in going there alone. So I didn't go other than sometimes with my parents. Maintenance fell to my parents, myself, and cool sister. That was mainly what those rare trips I was involved with revolved around. Entitlement gone wild. Not too long after this, Grandma passed away and left everything to Dad since he was the one keeping everything paid for and fixed. Entitled sister continued to use the lake house as she had been doing, I bet with even a little more entitlement now that she felt it belonged to her. The rest of the immediate family went and cleaned the house so it would present nicely for sale photos. Entitled sister flipped crap-a-doodle-doo when she found out the house was going on the market, stating, "Oh, I guess Dad is going to hawk the house and pocket the money," to my mother at one point.
Yeah, because it's his house.
This sentiment quickly got back to my dad, and my dad, being kinder than I could have, offered the house to entitled sister for free. The plan was to gift it to her a certain amount every year for 10 to 15 years so she wouldn't be taxed on the exchange of the deed.
Why?
And that entitled sister's family could just take over the bills.
Why? I mean, she goes there the most.
Dude, lake house right now, couple milli. Easy.
It's her house. She goes there the most.
She didn't like this because she felt he was just going to take it away from her at the last second, even though there was no plausible reason he would want to do that, especially at his age. She also didn't like the $6,000 a year in property tax, utility, lawn care.
You know how ridiculously cheap that is for a lake house? She probably doesn't because she's so entitled. Because she gets everything she wants for free.
Dude, I would
Lake
pay
house.
$500 a month
Oh.
just to have a lake house somewhere.
Are you kidding me?
Easy.
Easy.
Saying they couldn't afford it even though her family was taking something on the order of $10K through $20K worth of vacations every year in addition to the numerous lake house trips. It was also offered to become hers instantaneously, which could cost her extra money, but then she wouldn't be afraid of having it taken away. This, of course, was also rejected. So Dad put it up for sale as he was tired of paying $6K a year for something he didn't use and barely anyone other than entitled sister used. Entitled sister raged about this in her 37 going on 13 way, but that still didn't stop her from going to the lake all the time. She said it would and did at first, but didn't stay that way for very long. The lake house sat on the market for years, with periodic price drops as it was originally listed at optimistic price by my dad in hopes that he may recover some of the sunk costs from over the years. The offer of, "You can't just have the lake house, just pay the bills," was floated to entitled sister at least 2 more times during this. I believe she assumed the house would never sell and Dad would eventually give up. Enough time had passed, I found myself in a steady relationship with someone, and finally I had a reason to go to the lake house since it was still in the family. But it seemed that any desirable date and time I wanted to go, entitled sister had already claimed it. So even though I was busy all the time similar to my dad and had rare opportunities to go, I had scheduled around entitled sister who was able to go to the lake pretty much anytime she felt like it. Her schedule was/is immensely flexible because she didn't/doesn't work. Her husband makes loads of money and pays for everything for her.
Ah, see?
Oh my gosh.
She's just entitled. She's a little spoiled brat.
Babe, can I have $500 a year just to pay for the house? Come on!
Anything you want, honey.
Recently, though, out of nowhere, some buyers found the lake house and the whole closing process began. Closing day was to be in less than a month. My parents couldn't decide how to delicately give this news to entitled sister since they knew crap was going to hit the fan with her. The decision was taken out of their hands when entitled sister came to my parents' house and announced she was going to the lake house on XYZ day. That was a week after the closing date. They were forced to tell her it sold and she started crying and sprinted back to her car. It was as though she was 5 and just discovered that Santa isn't real. Mind you, she was 42 at this point. A couple of days later, her husband came to talk at her house with my dad about the lake house. Entitled sister didn't join her husband in this, just gave him a few talking points. This presumably was because she was incapable of holding back her rage during this meeting. In the conversation of the deal, you guys can just have the house, just take over the bills, was offered yet again. And rejected yet again for the same BS reason.
She's never gonna be happy. She's one of those people that's like, she's never
gosh,
happy.
Dude, what the heck is wrong with this person?
She's just never happy. She just keeps wanting more and more until it's ultimately hers. And even then, she's like a leech. She's like,
She really
I want
is.
more.
Oh my gosh, she really is. I mean, look at the marriage she's in. Though further discussion, it turned out that entitled sister and her husband felt my dad had enough money and that my dad was more than able to continue paying the bills on the lake house so it could stay in the family. Read, keep getting used for free by entitled sister. My dad, with the apparent patience of a saint, didn't flip out over such an unreasonable expectation and just stated that there was an impasse and it was going to be sold. Entitled sister husband then tried to bargain with entitled sister for one last weekend because entitled sister wants to at least say goodbye to grandma. This was totally laughable since entitled sister couldn't be asked to take a minute of her busy schedule to even say hi to the sweet old woman when she was alive. I don't think entitled sister even gave her a phone call in all those years. My dad didn't point out any of that though. Just stated that since the deal was so close, he didn't want to do anything that might upset the buyers. This was met with the immense disappointment as now entitled sister's husband had to go home to feel her wrath when he delivered the news. The end result, the lake house was sold to a lovely older couple at a pretty sizable loss. Entitled sister barely speaking to my parents now. Not a big change from normal. Shocking, I know. Despite my parents being far more accommodating than I would have been in their position. At one point in the time since the sale, she mentioned that she spent over $300 on the bedding for the lake house that she wasn't going to get back. The new people kept the furniture. This was, of course, forgetting the part where she gave the bedding to my dad for Christmas many years ago. And we can give you many more stories just like this on your favorite podcast platforms. Just search up OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're there with a ton of stories.
Too many. And it's still growing.
Yeah, no, dude, this hurts to read. Not gonna lie.
I'm just gonna say, so the fact that nobody's put her in her place, because everyone is just like brushing her attitude under the rug, like, okay, whatever. She's just gonna keep doing that. She's 42 years old, and she's just acting like a child.
It's so sad to see. Disgusting, really. Ugh.
And I feel bad for OP because OP didn't get to really have that experience with the lake house
Yeah,
that her sister did.
I think OP maybe had other good experiences, but yeah, that is pretty unfair. I really don't know what her end game was. Did she expect my dad to keep paying the bills until he dies? If so, what then? If she were to inherit the lake house at that time, she would still have to pay the bills they just can't afford, plus the taxes for transferring something valuable. The most likely scenario I come up with is just that she was assuming because I'm most likely to take over the reins in the coming years that I would take over the bills and let her keep using it, tolerating her horse effery the same way my borderline saintly parents have. Pretty assuming considering she barely acknowledges / has acknowledged that I even exist over the years. That used to really bother me, but this whole situation, among other unnecessary confrontations, has made me realize things are better off that way. That's the end of that story.
So it looks like entitled sister
0.
I mean,
Old couple 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I would say she did get a point because she literally had that house to herself for all.
She
those
paid
years.
for the bed though.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Remember that?
That's crazy. That she gifted to your dad.
Dude,
Wow.
that sheets and comforters on all those beds, bro.
Wow.
Dude.
She could pay for that, but not a whopping one payment.
Yeah. So what? Like
the
the dad had to
taxes.
pay for it and like did all the repairs to it and like spent a lot of time on it. So what?
And your
Bedding?
it was your grandma's.
Bedding's cost a lot,
Yeah.
man.
You know what? Betting solidified that you own that house.
Yep.
You're right.
That's true.
My brother finally realized what a narcissist his ex-girlfriend is after she demanded he pay her car payments.
Can he pay my car payments too?
Yeah, can he pay mine as well? I mean, if that's going around these days. Context, my brother dated a narcissist that lied with every breath she took, faked illnesses for both her and her children, made sure my niece, the only biological child my brother has, didn't get anything that her 4 crotch goblins couldn't get to, cheated on him, and gaslit him to the point my brother's view of himself was completely destroyed. By the way, this comes from user Smile Fearless, and if you want to submit your stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. He was basically in an abusive relationship for 10 years and didn't realize it until recently. She had all his passwords, later found out she had all his daughter's passwords as well, and would make Facebook posts on their behalf to type about how she was an amazing wife and stepmom and how much they adored her. My niece was the first to admit she never wrote any of that stuff, and then, in actuality, she hated Sharon. Well, the witch named Shannon left my brother for another man. After the initial hurt wore off, he realized how much better his life was without her. He was able to actually spend money on himself. He bought himself new jeans, got a new car, and lavished his daughter with everything he wouldn't have been able to get her before, because if he did, he would have had to buy 5 of them, because if her children didn't get it, it wasn't fair, and she'd pitch a raging fit. My niece got a new wardrobe, a new phone, new baseball gear, you name it. The funny thing is that Shannon left my brother for a man she thought was rich, but it turns out he was just as much of a liar as she was. Oh, and they're perfect for each other.
That's a great couple.
For the first time, her children didn't have new clothes for school, and her bills were starting to pile up. At one point, she did do something nice. She returned a phone that my brother was wanting back. She had stolen a lot of his things when she left, mostly his hoodies my mother had bought him for Christmas. Now, after she did this, she contacted my brother asking if he would pay her $900 car payment because she's at risk for having her car repossessed. My brother was understandably floored. She asked such a thing, and he told her no. Thanksgiving was coming up, and he needed the money to travel to the US. This would be the first time he'd ever been able to spend it with us in years. Every holiday she'd try and keep him from coming, and if they did come, her kids would run around being loud and eating my other niece's diabetic snacks. If we got onto them, Shannon would get huffy and demand to leave because, quote, our family was disrespecting her again as a mother. Her little demons are just the worst, and to make matters more horrifying, she'd put them up to doing things. Once she even got her little girl to throw rocks at my mother, and when she asked her to stop because she could put an eye out, went to Facebook and completely twisted the story, saying my mom screamed in her poor girl's face, which did not happen.
Who is this woman?
Just a vile witch from some unspoken place. I don't know.
From the core of this planet?
From the woods. She crawled out of a den in the woods. She's a force of nature.
Getting the children involved to do your dirty work is...
It's crazy. Shannon got angry with my brother and started posting on Facebook, telling everyone that my brother was selfish, that he had all this money now and wouldn't help her. Of course, people started looking at her like she was a lunatic. She left my brother, bragged she had a rich man, and was now saying my brother was selfish for not paying her bills? Word got back to my brother, and for the first time, he stood up for himself. He told her that he sacrificed 10 years of his life and went without, so that she and her children didn't have to. And how did she repay him? By cheating on him, causing problems for our family, manipulating his daughter, spreading lies about him, and now she has the audacity to call him selfish. Shannon promptly deleted the Facebook post and has been quiet for a few days now, which, by the way, you should be screenshotting these to have as evidence. But I'm so proud of my brother for standing his ground and not giving in to her. Considering we dealt with this woman for 10 years, there's a lot of stories that I have about her, and she just continues to create more. I'm not exaggerating when I say she'll stab you in the back, tell you about how every man wants her, and then start drama just so she can twist it around where she's the victim. And there is an update. What could we possibly hear about in this update?
She changed her ways. She's asking for forgiveness, and she's going to pay her car loans.
I am going to go ahead and guess the exact opposite of that. I'm going to guess a little cheeky breaking and entering going on here.
You know, I'm a pessimist.
I made a post yesterday about my brother's ex-narcissistic girlfriend, and some people asked for more stories or an update when one comes out. There will probably be one soon, as my niece is running for homecoming queen after being chosen by some of her classmates. Shannon's eldest daughter, we'll call her Minnie, is in the same grade as my niece, and they're both livid. My family dealt with Shannon for nearly 10 years, and in those years, she racked up quite a few stories. One of them that I remember the best was when we first found out about her true nature. My brother had just divorced my niece's mother, which, just really quick, I think is Shannon. My mom and I were going over to his house to redecorate and paint the place up to kind of cheer him up by making it more his style. I was only like 14 or 15 when this happened. When we pulled up to the house, there were piles of clothing outside in the yard along with furniture. My mom was confused, and my brother explained that Shannon's mother kicked her and the kids out after a heated argument, and they had nowhere else to go. He didn't know what to do. He didn't agree to let her stay with him, but she had 3 kids at the time and was pregnant with another. He felt like he didn't have a choice but to let her stay, and ironically enough, my mom believes Shannon and her mother planned this because the very next day they had lunch together and acted like the best of friends. Yeah, it sounds like the narcissistic scheming apple doesn't fall far from the narcissistic scheming tree.
They're very delectable in fall time.
And they're not bitter. They're just crab apples, dude. There's a couple crab apples. My brother's biological father was anything but a family man, so my brother strives to be the exact opposite of him. Within a month of them dating, Shannon was already moving into his home. My mother and I helped her move things in, and my mom got to notice a few red flags. The main I remember being is that all the children's clothes looked 2 sizes too small for them. I looked at the kids, and she was right. The clothes they were wearing were stained up, which is normal for children, and they were much too small. We questioned it, and Shannon painted a haunting story about how abusive her ex-husband was, how he had stolen all of her children's good clothes and locked her in a bathroom to keep her from leaving, and how she had to climb out the window to get away from him. My mom found that to be an odd story. Why would he steal their clothes? After some snooping, my mom found out her ex was actually a decent man who didn't have any of his children's clothes other than what he bought them after they split up. He stated Shannon never bought the kids new clothing, and this would prove to be true in the years to come. Now, while my mom and I were decorating my brother's home, one thing she did was hang several pictures of my brother and his daughter in the living room. The biggest picture was one we had professionally done of my niece in a white dress holding a lacy umbrella that made her look like a little doll when she was younger, around 3. She was about 5 or 6 when this happened. A few weeks after moving in, Shannon stated that she wanted to take family photos for her parents and asked my mother, who was working on getting her photography career off the ground, to take them. My mother agreed, and the day she chose to take them, my niece was at her mother's house. Now, at one point during the photo taking, she asked my brother to be in them. My mom was hesitant, stating if she wanted to include my brother, then would she mind waiting for a day when his daughter was here to be in the photograph? Shannon stated that it was just for her parents and grandparents, that they liked my brother a lot and would love to have him in the photo. Not wanting to argue, my mom took the photos, and after they were finished with touch-ups, my mom gave her a few of the copies. The next time we went over to their house, I saw my mom freeze in the doorway. I looked up and noticed that the wall we had decorated with pictures had been altered. The only pictures with my niece in it were the small ones, and the rest had been moved, including the large professional one. In its place, the family photo with my brother in it and without my niece.
I wonder who moved it.
This is just creepo behavior. Like, I know this seems like a small thing to blow up at, but honestly, I'd kind of be blowing up.
This is getting to the territory of psychotic.
Right, where it's like, I'm sorry, who do you think you are? You think you can just come in here and, change the photographs in my house?
Like, 1 or 2, fine, but all the ones, especially with the niece in them.
She thinks, she can come in there and then
we had nowhere to go.
I guess it's not their house, but it's like...
But it's still very odd.
My mom demanded to know where the photo was in a not-so-calm voice. Way to go, Mom. Shannon explained she had it moved to the hallway. My mom went to the hall and stopped when she was in my niece's room. The new bunk bed my brother had bought her had Crayola all over it. It was built from wood, so the Crayola couldn't wash off entirely. Her shelves that had expensive Barbies still in the box were ripped from the walls. My mom walked in just in time to see one of the boys jump from her top bed onto a mattress that had been dragged into the room and possibly for the other kids to sleep on. The youngest girl was hanging from one of the shelves that hadn't been torn down yet. The kids were treating her room like a jungle gym while my niece was at her mother's. Get her out of there, dude.
Shannon is... scum of the earth.
And so clearly, OP's niece that is being sort of excluded here is not Shannon's daughter.
No.
So it's like, that's why this is happening.
That's why, because
which is the biggest scumbag thing you could do as someone entering a relationship and you have kids of your own. And you're going to, exclude your partner's kids?
She's not mine. I didn't give birth to her, so I shouldn't care.
Scumbag. My mom went crazy bananas, yelling at them that what they were doing wasn't safe before completely rounding on Shannon. I won't say my mom was calm because she wasn't. all our work to make the house look nice was being destroyed, and my niece is and always has been a neat freak who was going to probably burst into tears when she saw her room. My mom began screaming at Shannon, stating how dare she let her children destroy someone else's room, and how dare she move a family photo onto the wall. Didn't she realize how that would make my niece feel excluded? Yes, she did. I'm gonna guarantee you that she did. Shannon began to cry, stating that she didn't want to make her children feel left out. And what about my kids? Are my kids supposed to go without? My brother was on my mom's side as he hadn't seen the room yet. However, that changed with one thing Shannon did. She faked heart complications. She clutched her chest and told my mom she couldn't get worked up. She had a heart condition. We later learned from her family that this was a lie. Psychotic behavior.
At first, I was like, okay, maybe she's just a terrible person, but she's a terrible person who's also a psychopath.
Psychotic. My brother, who became worried, told my mom he would talk to her. My mom told me to get into the car and we left. She was livid the entire night. And of course, when my niece got home, she saw her room and the family photo. I'm not sure how she reacted to the room, but the next time she came over to our house, she asked my mom why she would take a family photo without her. My brother promptly removed the photo, telling Shannon she wanted to give it to her parents, so it better go to their house. Of course, she fake cried again, stating my brother didn't see her children as family. When that didn't work, she pretended that her getting upset caused her to have more heart pains. And after that, my brother began walking on eggshells to prevent her from getting upset, worried he'd throw her into a heart attack. It's truly, get her out of here. Get her out of here. I don't want her in the same solar system as me.
What's up with the brother just not figuring it out?
I don't know, man.
It's just so blatant, smack in the face, like so red all over. But what are you doing?
He probably leads with his heart, dude, you know? We only learned recently that she doesn't have this heart condition and never did. It was all used as a weapon to keep my brother from upsetting her. The next time we came over to the house, my brother had put the shelves back up and from what I could tell, tried his hardest to scrub the Crayola off the bed. But the kids were still jumping off the top bunk and making an overall mess out of her room. When I questioned it, Shannon gave me a look and stated, well, they live here too. They need a room too. My problem wasn't the room, but rather the fact that they were bothering my niece's things and destroying the room. I had no problem with them sleeping in it or keeping their toys in it. However, believing that her heart condition was real, I bowed out of the conversation, worried I'd set her off. Things only escalated when my mom put up photos of all her grandkids and children around her fireplace. When Shannon came over, her face fell and she began hysterically crying, stating that my mother didn't see her children as her grandkids. My mom was floored, saying she'd only known her children for like 6 months and didn't have any photos of them anyways. Shannon complained to my brother, but he told her that she couldn't force mom to change how she decorates, especially if she doesn't have pictures. So my mom cut a deal with Shannon. If she provides the picture, she'd put them up. However, Shannon didn't do this and instead told anyone who would listen that my mother hated her children. When asked about it, my mom said she had nothing against the kids. They were just kids. Their mother, however, she was beginning to hate very much. Within a few months, Shannon's children had broken my brother's TV, spray painted his coffee table, somehow managed to cut up the walls with what may have been scissors, destroyed nearly anything decorative that was glass, and tore holes in his couch.
So they're demons.
How are the kids spray painting the coffee table? Who's watching these little
kids are breaking
monsters?
What are they doing? Are they doing WWE moves in the house?
And how is this being let slide? This is insane. All of his nice furniture was replaced by secondhand things that didn't look nearly as good or match together. What was worse was when he lost the house, Shannon had stated that she was paying the house payment. But the woman they were supposed to be making payments to said she hadn't received money in 9 months. So not only are kids ruining things, she's not paying the payments. And how are they not broken up already?
Love is stronger than any material in this world, Dakota.
This might be a really hot take. I don't know. But I feel like your partner having demon children, a perfectly acceptable reason to not be with them. So my brother ended up being evicted from his house and had to move into an apartment in Shannon's name that her father had given to them. When this happened, my mom demanded to know why Shannon didn't move into this apartment when her mother first kicked her out. But of course, Shannon faked her heart condition again, saying it was too stressful for her to talk about the situation with her mother. Even though they hung out often, according to her, they were still fighting. That is, her mother. Within less than a year, my brother lost most of his good furniture and his house, but was too afraid to say anything because he was afraid of upsetting Shannon, and we didn't know it at the time, but she was using his divorce against him, using it to make him feel like if he didn't have her, he'd never have anyone, that she was this angel that accepted him, and that his wife left him because he was
I feel bad for the brother, but also, why are you so gullible, dude?
Giving her the number 15, man. So my brother is very self-conscious about his intellect, as he does have a learning disability. So he started going with what Shannon said.
Oh my God.
Because he saw her as this intelligent person that
He has
knew
a
better.
learning disability, and she's taking so much advantage. Oh, dude, I want to drop kick her.
I'm gonna freaking
Back to the depths she came from.
Now my brother is constantly down on himself. He's afraid to try anything career-wise if it has a written exam that has to be taken, such as real estate, because he believes he's not smart enough to pass it. And because the apartment was in her name, anytime my brother would do something like question her motives, she'd just throw him out. My brother, feeling like he was in the wrong, would always apologize, and she'd take him back and give him a second chance. Since she loved him so much, she really just messed with his head. The house and the furniture were just items, but my brother and niece's self-esteem and empathy towards others has been completely altered. They both think lowly of themselves and are both now very hesitant to believe anyone's stories, which is sad because most sane people aren't going to lie about having a medical condition, which is true. This person is insane. I know it really affected my niece because I was telling her about a girl I know who had cancer a few months back, and one of the first questions she asked me was, "Are you sure she really had it?" I told her people don't lie about that, and there's video of her ringing the bell when she was deemed cancer-free. Shout out my mom who did the same thing, as well as pictures of her after she shaved her hair when it was falling out. Her response, Shannon would lie. I couldn't disagree with her because all of the medical illnesses she said she had or her children had only turned out to be lies. So examples include one of her children having autism and the other one having her stomach muscles deteriorate to the point that her intestines had fallen on top of each other, making it where she couldn't use the bathroom. No surgery was ever done, and supposedly the doctor gave her little laxatives. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that's a serious condition requiring surgery. It's a little heartbreaking to know this woman warped my niece's view of the world to the point she now thinks people's actions or their medical state might have some ulterior motive. Now, my brother is showering her with gifts and trying his best to move on with a new girlfriend he met. However, every night, at least during the beginning stages of the relationship, he called my mom terrified that he's going to screw it up. He's going to bounce back. Hey, you're going to bounce back, find a great partner.
He needs a support compass also, because this is 10 years of him just being, his brain morphing into like, I'm not good enough. I'm not the best.
Yeah,
So,
you need probably some counseling, some therapy.
I think for OP and their
the
mom
children.
and the children.
The children who have had their confidence and their worldview mixed up by this individual need guidance.
Yeah,
100%.
This is so bad. I feel so bad.
Yeah, and dude, let this be a lesson. Like, if you feel weird vibes, your gut will seldom lead you wrong.
Always trust your gut.
If your gut's telling you something, like, hear it out at the very least.
So Shannon is a scumbag demon, a psychopath, it seems like, and a pathological liar.
Yeah, a great combo, the unholy trinity. Before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to your favorite podcast platform, whatever it may be, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, and search OK Storytime.
Easy.
And there we are. You'll have the entire catalog to browse through at your leisure. One night, he called her, the demon, ranting about how much of an idiot he was and how he knew he blew it with her, that she'd never want to talk to him again, etc. What did he do? Well, he was supposed to be going over to her house and fell asleep and woke up at midnight. His new girlfriend, I'll call Rhonda, since she likes MMA, was a little niffed, but said she knew he had just gotten off work. She joked that he hadn't blown it yet, but if he stood her up again, she'd be at his front door.
Okay, so this is at least a better partner in the better direction, that seems like.
Yeah, a normal response with understanding and a little bit of cheeky humor there.
Yeah.
There are a lot more stories of Shannon since, again, 10 years of this mess. Manipulation, lies, and fake illnesses were normally her calling card for the dramatic situations she'd rope people into, normally ending it by twisting the situation where she somehow became the victim. And that's the end of that story. Look,
okay.
Look, here's what I'll say, all right?
We ended on like a decent
What we're
note.
gonna say, right, is that the brother, the children, all the people who were impacted mentally by her manipulations have sought therapy, all right, have sought group counseling. I'm putting that out there. That's what they were going to do. The brother is still in a great relationship now with Rhonda. Yes?
Yes.
And just a warning again, if you just listen to this story and you realize, oh, that kind of sounds like my partner, but my partner's great, you have to re-examine your relationship.
My ex-girlfriend's mother confronted me because I refused to raise a child that isn't mine.
Hey, knock knock, who's there? I don't know whose kid this is.
It's not mine. This story happened recently involving a girl, 28 female, I dated since last year. First, let me give some backstory. Before Memorial Day, she decided that she wanted to try the whole hot girl summer and broke up with me so she can find herself. By the way, this comes from user Skylar2s, and you can submit your story on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, during this time, she blocked me on Facebook but kept me on Instagram. All throughout summer, I saw Instagram posts of her going to pool parties, nightclubs, festivals, etc. Personally, I didn't pay much attention to them and focused on my job / having myself a good summer. However, I heard from mutual friends that she got involved with being polyamorous and had a lot of male friends. I even heard that she went on to some swinger parties. 2 weeks ago, she reached out to me and wanted to patch things up with me. This time around, however, she was overtly spicy towards me, something that was kind of outside her usual demeanor. Yeah, man, she has her experience now. She kept insisting that I come over to her place so we can have some real fun. Something didn't feel right about her advances, and trusting my gut, I insisted on meeting in a coffee shop to chat instead. 1 hour before our meeting, I got a text from a mutual friend that my ex got pregnant sometime over the summer and thought that I had a right to know. During our chat, she acted like we never even broke up and asked about what I did over the summer, to which I responded that I pretty much worked. I decided to ask about her being pregnant, which prompted this following exchange. So, I don't mean to be in your business too much, but I heard through the grapevine that you're pregnant. X? You heard about that? Yeah, it's true, but I'm not really worried though. OP? Why's that? Is the dad still in the picture? X? No, he's not. But luckily for me, I got someone who's going to step up and take care of me and the baby, and who knows, he might ask me to marry me soon. OP? Really? Who is it? X? I think you know. Me? No, I don't. Who is he? X? He's sitting right in front of me. OP? Some coffee comes out of my nose. Come again? X? It's you, silly! My jaw hit the effing floor. I sat there dumbfounded for 10 awkward seconds. X? Aren't you excited? OP? No, I am not. X? Why not? OP? Because not only did you party it up all summer, I heard that you had more than your fair share of spicy romps and swinger parties, and now you're telling me that you expect me to take you back after all of that? And to include marry you and raise a kid that's not even mine? X? Taking it back and starting to look really angry. Yes? Because that's what real men like you do. They step up and provide for their women. Plus, it's not like I cheated. We weren't together when I got pregnant. OP. While that may be true, you're still asking me to do something I'm not even remotely interested in doing.
Bro,
X?
she's treating their relationship like it was a video game. She just put it on pause.
She just like, all right, so that's my save point. Do you want to play that? You've never played this game before. Like, you played the beginning, but now we're toward the end. God. And I know you missed all that fun stuff. You missed the good stuff and like learning and, you know, all the cool items. But you want the save point, right? You want to play that. I did all the work for you.
Unbelievable.
X looking very upset. So you're not going to step up then? Are you serious? OP looking around and noticing that half the coffee shop is listening to us. I'm just going to go. I get up and walk out in a hurry. As I make it 15 feet out of the coffee shop, I hear my ex burst through the front door of the coffee shop screaming like a banshee. Get your butt back here, OP! We're going to have this discussion! I decided to get the heck out of there and dodge and started to sprint across the parking lot. I looked back for a split second to see my ex running after me, still screaming. Luckily enough for me, she was wearing heels and I was wearing a good pair of shoes.
Yes. Utility.
Yes. He came prepared.
Practicality.
I managed to get to my car, get inside, and start the engine in time to peel out the parking lot. While at a stoplight up the block, I took out my phone and blocked her number and her Instagram account. Don't do that. Don't text and drive, but that is a smart thing to do.
Do not block and drive.
Yeah, park first and then block. For a day and a half, things were quiet until I was at a gas station filling up my car. After I was done, I bent over to tie my shoes, and while doing so, I heard the sound of stiletto heels angrily making their way towards me. And guess what? They stopped right behind me. A chill ran down my back as I felt a pair of angry eyes staring daggers at me. You're hearing the boss music. You're hearing the Skyrim battle music. You're like, where is it?
Ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun.
And then there's a dragon over your head. You're like, oh no. I stood up and turned around, expecting to see my ex. But I was greeted by the rage-filled eyes of my ex's mother. In parentheses, he says, the entitled mother, EM, of this story, I should also mention, that she is divorced. She raised her hand to slap me, but I stepped back in time to dodge it. Entitled mother, you're an effing a-hole, you know? OP, if you're referring to your daughter, then I'm sorry, but I'm not getting back together with her. Yes, you are. OP, no, I'm not. I refuse to date someone who is going to try and force me to raise a kid that isn't even mine. Why don't you ask those men she screwed during her summer vacation? Entitled mother. So what if she had a couple of one-night stands? All girls do it. So what if she made a mistake? It's not like you two are together, so it doesn't count as cheating.
Hey, genius, you just found the answer to your question. It's not like we're together.
It sounds like she said it out loud. Do you not hear what you're saying?
Again, the apple must not be falling far from the
crab
completely
tree.
Unhinged, illogical tree here.
Yes. OP. Even so, it's not really fair to me to just expect me to take her back after all of that. Entitled mother. Yes, it is. Because that's what men are supposed to do. They provide for their woman. That's what my angel deserves right now, and you're just the man to do it. You need to man up right now. OP. BS. I deserve a girlfriend that won't break up with me just to screw around and expect me to be waiting around to take her back afterwards. Suddenly, an officer pulls up and gets out of his car. Officer? Is there a problem here? Entitled mother. Why, yes, there is. I need you to arrest this man for stalking and harassing my daughter. OP. Officer, I can assure you that I have not harassed anyone. She's lying. Entitled mother. Why, you lacking sack of crap. Just then, a guy from a few pumps down runs up to the officer. The nice guy. Excuse me, officer. I saw the whole thing. The lady accosted this man about not wanting to date her daughter.
Hey, what a nice guy, eh?
There's a nice guy.
Hey, we're just a couple of nice guys, yeah?
Entitled mother. F off. Nobody asked you. She tries to slap the nice guy, but the officer stops her and restrains her. After this, he let me go and suggested I get a restraining order, which I'm heavily considering, as well as moving out of my apartment soon. I have a feeling that it is not over, and we have an update. This is one of the most, crazy stories I've ever...
This is a pretty wild path we have wandered down here.
Listen, I really hate the fact that they're like, because you're the right man for this. You're the man. Step up. Excuse me? Like, what the hell?
It's like, did I sign a contract in blood that I wasn't aware of, that I have to be with this one person forever? Even after they leave me? She left me.
Well, I didn't know my post would generate so much hostility. Some of y'all got some issues to work out. Anywho, I went ahead and got myself a Ring app for my apartment in case my ex wants to try anything while I'm away. And while we're away,
you can actually listen to full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and search OK Storytime. And while we're away from your screen, you can listen with your ear holes to the entire OK Storytime catalog.
It's very easy. There is another relevant update, but I don't think we have to discuss much more. Restraining order is good.
Yeah.
Crazy girlfriend, crazy entitled mother.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
I wonder what these hostile comments were. I mean, maybe it's OP being like, hey, pump the brakes on the hostility towards my ex and her mom, please.
I don't know.
I would imagine that the internet was being ruthless.
Yeah, but that's crazy. But let's get to the end of the story. I've stopped going to some of the places I usually go. Gas stations, the gym, church, etc. in hopes to avoid seeing her mom again. I heard from my friend that my ex is doing a witch hunt to figure out who told me about her being pregnant, and even made a Facebook post about it, which he sent me a screenshot of.
The fact that she didn't tell him that she was pregnant, she was getting back to try to entrap him and make him think that was his child.
Oh, no.
And the only reason that he found out was because he was told. That's another insane angle to this story.
Oh my goodness. In the meantime, I'm looking for a new apartment. Not to sound ignorant, but I really think it's going to be hard for my ex to pin a baby on me, seeing how we didn't have spicy sleep at all over the summer, and with me turning down her offer to come to her apartment. But if I see her mom again, I will file a restraining order the same day. We have one comment. Be ready to prove you're not the biological father. Talk to a lawyer. if she puts your name on the birth certificate, you need to know your options. OP replies, I believe that's why she tried to get me to come over to her house in the first place. Wouldn't OP have to voluntarily sign his name on the birth certificate for any real consequences? Depends on where he lives. It's best to talk to a lawyer who's an expert in the law where he is. And if you guys know anything about that, well, we also don't know what state he lives in, where he's from. We don't know that.
It's just,
it's good to just cover all tracks and make sure you're prepared for anything.
Get that paternity test ready.
My entitled cousin made my childhood difficult. Now her life is chaotic. Well, that's karma. There you go. What goes around comes around. A little background. I am female and currently 24. I have a brother that is a year older than me, and this particular cousin, who I will call Charlotte, is just between us in age. Charlotte and her mother always lived fairly close to us growing up, mostly about 30 minutes to an hour drive away. So we ended up spending a lot of time together as kids, however grudgingly on my part. By the way, this comes from White Wolf Dreamer on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So one of the biggest stories that comes to my mind happened around the time we were 8 or 9. It was Charlotte's birthday and she was having a slumber party. She ended up inviting me, our other cousin Kimmy, and her, Charlotte's older sister's oldest daughter, Anne. I was excited because I didn't ever go to slumber parties, so after I was dropped off at Charlotte's place, I was eager to have fun. Charlotte began wanting to play games and such, and I was happy to go along, but she kept excluding me from them, claiming the games only needed 3 players, so I ended up just sitting and watching. When it was time to eat, Charlotte ignored me. She opened my present, can't remember what it was, probably a doll, and she just tossed it aside.
Oh my
Rude.
God.
Rude. Then it was time for more games, and again, I was excluded. I finally asked her why I couldn't play, and she flat out told me that she hadn't even wanted to invite me to her party, but her mother had told her that she had to if she wanted the others to come too. So I spent the rest of the night just watching the others have fun, because every time Kimmy or Anna tried to include me, Charlotte would change what we were doing or just continue to ignore me. When her mother told her to let me play, she would respond with, "It's my birthday, so I can do what I want." When it was time for bed, Charlotte let Anne sleep with her and let Kimmy have the second bed, bunk beds, but told me that I had to sleep on the floor. I was always non-confrontational, so I just didn't really object. So I made up a little bed on the floor out of blankets and tried to get some sleep. Around midnight, Charlotte's cat came into the room and while I was sleeping started to play with my hair or something. I'm not sure what led to it, but out of nowhere, her cat somehow hooked his claws around my earring, little studs that my grandma gave me to match my party clothes, and ripped it right out of my ear.
Ow.
Oh my gosh.
Ow, 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 ow.
This is so sad. I woke up screaming in pain and shoved the cat away. Of course, all the others woke up along with my aunt, and while I sat there sobbing and holding my bleeding ear, the cat luckily didn't rip clear through my ear, but definitely broke skin when it yanked on the earring. Charlotte jumped up, grabbed her cat, and started yelling at me for scaring him. She didn't care about my ear and just went right back to bed while my aunt stopped the bleeding, though not before insisting that her cat gets to stay in the room with us.
What?
What is this mom doing?
Honestly, this was me for a year in my life. I say, I want my mommy. I'm calling my mommy.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm
Freaking
outta
calling my
here.
mommy. I don't care if it's one. My mom, she came at 1.
So I think it's saying though that the girl.
Oh, the girl
insisted that
but
the cat.
the mom
But
should have been like, no.
Yeah.
What are
Absolutely.
these are bad parents?
Yeah.
Which is evident because they're raising
then
a
it's
little
also
crappy
like,
kid.
This is literally like her aunt. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like
Not just some parent,
her friend's
yeah.
mom. Like we should know. We should. I don't know.
Shouldn't allow this.
I was so grateful when my grandma picked me up the next morning, though I never did get my earring back. Aww. The other big story that really stands out to me happened when we were about 12. Charlotte and her mother had moved into my town around then, and Charlotte, having been held back a year, I believe was in my grade rather than my brother's, despite being closer to his age than mine. Despite things that happened in the past, I wanted to be nice to her and introduced her to all of my friends. I didn't have a lot, but enough to call a friend group. A few days later, I got to school and realized that a lot of my friends weren't talking to me. Some of them wouldn't even look at me. Even people who I wasn't really friends with but had always been friendly to me started giving me nasty looks in the halls. I had no idea what was happening, so I asked one of my good friends, one who was still talking to me, what was going on, and she told me, "Haven't you heard what Charlotte's been saying?" I said, "No." And then she told me that Charlotte had been telling people a bunch of stories and lies about how I was saying nasty things about them behind their backs. That is so awful.
Hate that.
Awful.
I hate that.
Oh my goodness. Apparently she told a lot of my friends that I thought they were all or that I called them names when they weren't around. And she'd even gone to people I wasn't that close with and told them that I started rumors or something about them. And unfortunately, a lot of kids believed her, because why would my own cousin lie about me? I went from having about 20 people I was friendly with to having roughly 5 close friends who didn't believe her BS. I was already heavily bullied before any of this happened, and after she went around talking about me, it just got worse. When I asked her why she was lying to people, she played dumb, saying she hadn't done anything. She didn't stay in my grade long, only for that year, but it was long enough for her to really damage the friendships I had with some people. So those are the 2 worst stories that I remember, but there was a myriad of other smaller things that happened, but no less entitled or BE. Growing up, she stole and or broke a great number of my toys and dolls, especially when I told her that she couldn't have them. If she liked any clothes that I had, she would find a way to guilt me into giving it to her, like saying, "You already have a bunch of pink shirts, let me have that one." Or she'd just swipe it and claim I let her have it as if I saw her wearing it, so she was never forced to give it back. She would come to my birthday party every year, which was shared with my brother because our birthdays are 4 days apart, and she'd just sit and whine the whole time. "Mom, I want to go home. I'm so bored. There's nothing good to eat." We always had pizza. Dude, if there's pizza at a party and you're like 12 or 8, something
That's all you
like that,
need.
that's the
That's
best
all
thing in
you
the world.
need.
Exactly. She'd also say, "When can we have cake?" when she's just gotten there. Or she'd hover over around my presents before and after I opened them, pointing out things I could share with her or that she really liked. Translation, "Give me
Boo-hoo.
yours later."
Boo
Or
freaking who.
"I'm gonna beg mom or grandma to buy me that
This is
because I
freaking
want it."
Dudley Dursley.
Dude, yeah. No, literally.
Like, last year I had 37.
Right. This, like, the parents really do need to step in. I don't know what's going on with them.
They're not parenting, that's for
Not
dang
at
sure.
all. Oh my goodness. She would constantly feign illnesses, making up stomach aches, headaches, fevers, and even made herself throw up sometimes if it got her some attention. Anytime there was food being served, whether at home or school, she would throw a fit because "I don't like that" or "I'm allergic to that," when I knew she had no allergies. Or my personal favorite that she used at school, "I had that for dinner last night, so can't you," the cafeteria workers, "make me something else?" You're asking the cafeteria workers to make you something else? That stuff is planned like a month ahead. They don't just have like
That food's been there
that
for
stuff
like
ready.
2 years.
Yeah.
That's frozen and
Yeah.
they unfreeze it.
Yeah.
So that's about it. You got 2 options.
Don't know what you want, my guy. That's crazy. She would also try to beg money off of the other kids at school or me so she could get chips from the school's vending machine. A lot of times, either her mother or grandmother, who raised me, by the way, would get her nice gifts either for her birthday or Christmas, and she would either complain about them, damage them, or just never touch them. For example, one year, her mom and grandmother both chipped in to get her a 5-disc CD player for her birthday because she kept asking for a new player and her mom wanted to treat her. She had that player for about 3 months before she had it completely broken and was begging for a new one.
Yeah, you broke it, so that's
At that
it.
point.
You have to learn how to take care of your stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like when parents like with their kids, like they break stuff and they're like, "Oh, we'll just get a new one." It's like, no. You have to teach your kids how to take care of their things.
Right.
They have
right.
to know how to have responsibility for taking care of their things.
Yeah, like I don't think it's terrible to like to do that, to like get it once in a while, but like it really depends on the situation.
I guess
With
it depends
this
on
kid-
how much you're doing it. Because
Yeah,
obviously
absolutely.
sometimes there are accidents, but if it's like,
Right.
"Oh, I threw it after like a week,"
Yeah,
and they're
or,
like,
like,
"Oh, a new one." It's
I was like
no.
being reckless, hitting it
Yeah.
with my Barbies or something like that.
That's
It's like,
different. That's different.
No.
Yeah, it makes sense to like if you have like a phone or something and you're like a teenager and it breaks
Right.
after 2 years and you're like,
Sure. The year she went to school with me, she begged and begged for pink hair dye, so her mother got her some, and she dyed all her hair hot pink, and then immediately started whining about how she looked and how could you let me do this to my hair, before making her mom buy her a boxed hair dye and just dyeing it all black. Side note, I'm pretty sure she wanted her hair to be black the entire time, but her mom kept telling her no. She only got to dye it black in the end because it was the only color that would cover the pink and still look like a natural color. And finally, while she lived in my town, she would constantly invite me to spend the night at their place. Reminder, this was when we were about 12, so way after the first incident. But she would go to bed super early, and I always ended up spending more time with my aunt than her. One night, my aunt and I even stayed up the entire night watching a Gilligan's Island marathon, while Charlotte spent the whole time yelling that we were waking her up. Sometimes, either during these sleepovers or while I was just visiting, I would see Charlotte video chatting with random men on the computer. She was on Omegle.
Yeah, probably.
no.
She's probably on Omegle.
Oh no.
Where is the parents in this situation?
Please.
Oh my God.
Again, we were around 12 at the time, and she'd been talking to men well into their 20s or 30s, flirting with them or wearing skimpy outfits. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh, well, now I'm sad.
Now I just worry for her.
Now I'm just worried for this poor
just
12-year-old. No, I'm like, oh no, what are her parents doing?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Woohoo. One morning, I didn't realize she was online, and I walked behind her. The guy she was chatting with, who she told me was around 25, asked, "Who's that behind you?" So she said it was her cousin. He asked her to bring me into the frame because he wanted to see both of us at once. Ugh. And she literally got mad at me because I refused. I was creeped out because this was a strange grown man wanting to look at me, but she was yelling in my face because I was embarrassing her. Some of the things I remember her telling me are, "I've been talking to him for a while. He's cool. He just wants to see what you look like. And he's really cute and I like him, but you're going to make him get mad at me."
Yeah, I would not. But I hope that OP tells like her mom or something.
Yeah.
Because that's like a really scary situation.
That like really is.
like this kid is like annoying, but like she shouldn't be. That's scary.
Right. This is a point. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to like her for any of the other stuff, but
Yeah.
or you don't have to like her, but
I mean, like she's a kid.
we can still
She's a
feel like
kid.
we want to protect her though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see much of Charlotte anymore. She's had 5 kids, all from different dads. Yeah, I know. The first 2 were taken away by CPS because she wasn't taking care of them. So rather than try to get them back, she just got pregnant again. And the last time I saw her, she had 2 kids with her, aged 2 and 3, and was pregnant yet again. She showed up out of the blue asking for a place to stay. P.S. I live with my brother and grandma in a rented 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. There's barely room for the 3 of us, and she knows that because we've lived here over 10 years now. So we told her no, and she jumped into a spiel about how she and her kids were living out of her car. And I saw her car. It was absolutely filled with trash, dirty clothes, and moldy food containers. And she was driving around letting her 2 toddlers sit in filth. And no one would give them a place to stay. And that her mom didn't talk to her anymore. So she felt so alone and overwhelmed. We still couldn't let her stay with us. Even if we had room, we would have said no because she's literally stolen from every single person she's lived with. And she has a knack for making a weekend stay last over a month. So our gran just gave her some money and some lunch and told her to call us if she needed anything.
Call CPS. Call CPS.
Again.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so hard.
Oh,
This is
just
just
sad.
spiraled
Yeah.
out of
like it was like,
control.
oh, ha.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh God.
Oh, yeah.
After she left, we called my aunt to ask what was up, and she told us she actually talks to Charlotte almost every day on the phone, and that Charlotte has been jumping from friend to friend, always bumming places to stay instead of trying to get a job or a place of her own. Last I've heard about her, she had her newest baby, but then got all 3 of her remaining kids taken away by CPS because she told the caseworker that had come to inquire about bruises on the oldest one. Her current boyfriend apparently was too rough with him, and she told the worker that she felt so overwhelmed having 3 kids to look after, and it was too much work to watch them all the time. Add that to her living situation and little to no income. She was living off government checks and refused to get a job, and her kids were taken away. That is so.
This turned
sad.
into a really sad story.
Yeah, this really did take quite a turn.
Quite a
Oh my
drastic
goodness.
turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
At first, I thought I was just complaining about a 9-year-old.
Yeah, it's like,
And
no, this 9-year-old grew up into a really tragic adult.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. But you know what would never make us sad is if
You know what we would never take away?
we would never take away more stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. And we've got so much more for you.
So much more.
So much more. And a lot of happier stories.
So many happier stories than this
happier
one.
ones. Go check them out.
Yeah.
But there is a little bit more.
Let's just jump into it.
Let's just go. Apparently, Charlotte didn't expect them to take them and was trying to get someone in the family to adopt them so she could get them back. We even got letters in the mail asking if we would take them, but again, we have no room for 3 kids. I'm not sure if anyone else in the family agreed to it, but from what I know, Charlotte still isn't working and still doesn't have a steady home, so I'm pretty sure it'll be a long time before she gets them back, if ever. I'm pretty sure if I do ever see Charlotte again, it will be when she needs something. So that's the story of my entitled cousin. She spent her whole life acting like she's better than everyone else and doing anything she felt like. I'm sorry this got so long, but I hope you enjoyed the reading. And that is the end of it.
My entitled sister demands I fund her lavish lifestyle, so I cut her off.
I hope it was with a gilded pair of scissors.
Haha, nice. So for background, I, 25 female, have an older sister, 40. Yes, there is a 15-year age gap. That's mama was fertile. My parents got married at 21 and didn't have my sister until they were 31, and that was with them trying for the whole 10 years. Wow. By the way, this comes from True Description 9673, and you can submit your story on r/OKStorytime. So they never thought they would have any more children, and then I came along when they were 46. That is a fertile woman.
That's
Sorry to comment on that.
that's
I'm
impressive.
I'm shocked, bro. That needs to be to quote
It's like
the Great Dakota. That needs to be studied.
that's like what is that like an Amazonian type thing? Like,
Oh, yeah.
really? Ooh.
Goddess energy. Now, my parents are now 71 and aren't in terrible health, but not the greatest health either. You may ask if my sister had any hard feelings about me when I was born. I honestly don't know. She moved out at 18. I was 3 years old. My sister is exceptionally stubborn and, from what I understand, always butted heads with our dad just on what she wanted versus what they had. And my parents are hardworking, honest individuals. My dad owned a small construction company. My uncles and cousins worked for him, and my mom worked as his receptionist/secretary. Family business. It was company run out of our home. So mom was with her children at home. So a working stay-at-home mom, I guess. My parents kept a roof over our heads, clothes on our backs, and food on the table. And we had basic cable on one TV and no internet in our home until I was 12 in 2008.
I really have to quickly say that was a stay at work from home mom. Thank you.
What are you?
Congratulations! It's Dakota, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Oh, so it wasn't the most luxurious life, but we had it better than a lot of people. We still lived in poverty, but my parents knew how to save and stretch. I know how to as well. My sister, on the other hand, never grasped at the idea. Usually, this is the inverse. Usually, it's the older one that went through the hardships, and then the parents got money and figured life out, and then the youngest is spoiled. This is an interesting inverse.
It is
Quite
it
an
is
inverse.
kind of it's interesting.
So now my sister moved out at 18, took the money my parents saved for her since she was a baby. It was only about $7,000, but would have been enough at the time for a semester at a state university and a reliable used car. Did she use that money for that? No. She got an apartment, which was fine, but she assumed this was enough to live a year on without getting a job. Is this 1940?
Yeah, I think I was about to make a comment about like, wow, wouldn't it be nice to be able to pay for a whole semester and a decent car for $7,000 back in 2008?
Let alone
it's like
a year of rent?
it's like, good. Just there are a couple more zeros attached to that.
Yeah. We need some more zeros.
We need at least one.
Oh, she went through it in a month. $7,000 in a month. Wow.
Actually, you did need another one.
She didn't want to go back home because she thought our life at home was horrible. She couldn't have a TV/VCR in her room. She couldn't have a cell phone unless she paid for it, which at the time was kind of expensive, $19.99. She couldn't buy the clothes brands that she wanted. She couldn't buy all the CDs and VHS tapes she wanted. You get the idea.
Wow, she burned through $7,000 in 1999 in a month.
Keon, can we get a quick conversion on what that is today?
I mean, that's just like,
7K? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the same thing today as it was then. It's called financial illiteracy.
That means stupid.
Yeah. Or
That
just,
means he's stupid.
or just blatant irresponsibility.
$7,000 from 1999 to today's rate
Yes.
is about 13K.
Dang. It's like spending $3,000 a week.
I gotta get back to the story. She thought that daddy could give her everything she wanted in life. So she moved in with her friends and kept couch surfing until her friends got sick of her. Now, you have to remember, I was a small child and didn't really know all the details, but this is kind of what has been told to me by my family and family friends. So my sister finally gets a job. It's minimum wage and she thinks that it's below her, but she now needs the money. From the time I was 3 until I was 13, I saw my sister once a year at Christmas. She wouldn't bring any gifts for us, but expected at least 3 from each of us and would get mad when we didn't, or she didn't think that they were good enough. She would ask to borrow money, which my parents didn't have that much extra. They wanted to save some. She never acknowledged our birthdays, but we had to send her gifts and call her, etc., etc. She didn't want to see us on her birthday. She had to celebrate by getting wasted with her friends. She's like, send me the gifts, but I don't want to see you. Can you just put a bag over your head and give me some money?
Yeah, can you have a courier deliver that, please? I don't want to look you in the eyes.
I can't look at you. You do.
It makes me feel... blech.
When I was 13, I started babysitting to add to my savings that my parents had started for me, like they did my sister. She started calling to talk to me and ask me for money. Quick maths, 13 plus 15, it's 28. Could you imagine, Dakota? You have a 13-year-old sister. You know, she's working hard. You're like so proud of her, right? You're like, hey, give me some money.
Be like,
Okay, here you go.
Yeah,
I love you.
You're the one.
Oh.
You're the one asking for money. Could you imagine you doing that?
no,
Right?
No, no,
Yes.
make your money.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't rely on 13-year-olds when you're almost into your 30s.
Yeah.
Now, I babysit a few times a month for a couple of hours. I wasn't rolling in money. I always said no, that I was saving it for college. She said to me that I was just like mom and dad and saying no, then whined and complained that she's family and I should help her out. She had a job and roommates to share expenses. And at 28, no car. I found out later that she was letting her guy friends borrow money that they never paid back for her to get them to like her.
It sounds like this person is lying about having a habit that they are paying for.
Oh.
SUBSTANCE.
Some rugs?
Yeah, all my guy friends who I paid money to get them to like me. Are you sure that's what she was doing? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm seeing like 2 or 3 scenarios, all of which are horrendous.
There's no real winner here.
Everybody's losing. So this was the type of thing that went on for years. Fast forward to me graduating high school a year early and being valedictorian. I decide to use the scholarship money to go to a local community college because I didn't want to go into one of the better schools that I got into. Sister thinks this means that my money is up for grabs. Oh, you're going to a cheap school, you say? I was not yet 18, so the account could not transfer over to me. That's an ICU. Mom and dad, again, tell her no for money, and she says she deserves to go on a cruise with her friends and she can't afford it. She deserves it. Mom told her it wasn't my fault and she could have saved instead of buying stuff she didn't need or lending her money. Sister whined and complained how they are family and how she's just not as loved as her little sister, who's obviously the favorite, which they raised us according to our personalities, but with equality in terms of morals, values, and money. She said I was spoiled because I had more money in my account than she had. At the time, I had been working at a restaurant for a year and put my own money into my saving. When you work, more money comes to your bank account. That's how it works.
No, you're just spoiled rotten with your job.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. You're doing labor. You're picking up people's dirty plates and having rude people be rude and that stuff.
Yeah, what are you, a little princess?
I don't even know how she found out what I had in there. I think she had snooped through the house and found the bank book. She had a tendency to do that. She was always looking for cash. I'm pretty sure she stole some a few times. My parents had gotten creative with hiding it. I once found cash in the freezer labeled spinach. I had been looking for the actual frozen spinach to make a veggie egg white omelet. Thank God she didn't grind that up. So for my graduation present, my parents and I used some of the money to get me a used reliable car for college and work. My sister thought it was a huge betrayal.
Oh, you don't say.
A huge betrayal, Dakota.
Because let me guess, because it's not her money? Because she's not just getting like a Scrooge McDuck like level of money poured on her, like gold coin.
You bought,
is that what
you're telling me you bought, wait, you forgot something. Dudes, are you ready for this?
Yeah, please hit me with it.
Sis doesn't even have a car yet.
Oh.
You have the audacity to give my little sister a car before me, an adult?
A 28-year-old woman.
Dakota, it's not like I could have used those 10 years to maybe scrounge up enough cash to get a car in a decade.
Well, that would be impossible.
I didn't have a decade. I only had 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
I have to lend all of my guy friends money so that they'll like me. You think I can afford a car? I'm trying to make friends. What are we what universe are we living in?
Honestly, it's sad now. Now I'm just like, yes, she's terrible, but like, God, get a friend, please.
I need some friends who would pay me.
Right? Where are these friends? Oh my God. So my sister thought this was a huge betrayal to her, even though she had that option. When it was pointed out to her, it was like she had forgotten. Oh, she was also mad that I didn't have a curfew. You think that might be favoritism, but it's just difference. I had 2 close friends and we did everything together. If we were out late, it was because we went to the movies and saw 2. We hung out in the local used bookstore and always told our parents where we were. I had also used some of the money to get a cell phone and I was paying for it myself. I planned on living at home, yes, rent-free, as long as I continued to help with chores, cleaning, cooking and laundry, mowing, shoveling, etc. And my sister would have had that option too, but she just chose to leave. My parents tried to offer her that when she was packing to leave, but she just wouldn't listen. So fast forward to now, present day.
Here we go.
Because remember, sister's now 41?
8.
15.
That means that
Opie's now
they'd be-
25, and there's a 15-year age gap. That's 40, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a job in my chosen field. I make okay money. It will increase after a few years, but I've only been at it for 4 years. I still live with my parents, do most of the household chores, and pay most of the bills. Mom and dad are retired, getting Social Security payments. So we get by, and I am still able to save some money for me, but by no means are we well off. The last couple of years has seen my mom getting a serious surgery that took her months to recover from and had a 2-month hospital stay, and dad getting an ulcer and severe UTI. Ooh, at the time. Goodness gracious.
That's a horrible combo.
Oh, truly. Now, we have been safe and careful following all the mandates for the pandemic situation, that is. I do work from home, but I did that sometime before the vid, so it wasn't that hard to switch over. We are all good and boosted
We are
now.
all of the words that are related to doing the stuff that you do.
All the boosters. Yeah, boosters should work.
Because those words aren't good words to say
'Cause they
out
have
loud.
Booster seats, so we can get away with it.
Indeed.
So, over the last 2 years, my sister has been even more of a pain asking for money. Now, please note that she is now married, but he does not have a job. Never has. And they let a moocher friend live with them, and she provides them with food stamps, and she does nothing else.
Never has is wild. You're married with no job ever?
Yeah.
How do you get married with no job ever?
And if she's 40,
I know how. Doing the substance dance.
spicy dances.
Dancing in the moonlight with the black
Well, are we
market
spicy
trades.
dancing, or are we doing spicy rugs?
I
Is
think
that-
they're selling spice like Dune.
selling spice.
Like Dune. Yeah. They're shipping the spice out.
Shipping the spice
Because there's no
out.
way that would also connect the dot of like why she's so desperate for money is it's like she's clearly involved with some kind of substance use habits.
That,
And I would
yeah.
bet you that the guy that she married does the same thing, which is why he's unemployed and married.
What a life to live.
That's just what I see. I probably should have done a little ICU for that one.
So her husband doesn't know the value of a dollar either. He sits at home on his butt watching TV or sleeping all day, and the roommate sleeps all the time. That's their job. No one does housework, so the house is falling apart. Her job pays about $2,500 a month, but after mortgage, utilities, car payments, insurance, gas, 3 iPhones, with the max amount of everything, 4 TVs with cable, vet bills for their 13 cats that are always sick. There isn't much left for food.
Who is this human being?
After all that, guys, there isn't much left over for
You're
food.
going to have to start eating the cat food.
Guys,
Ugh.
I'm sorry. My brothers in Christ, could we imagine bringing home $2,500 a month, having 14 cats, cable, 3 iPhones?
What
No.
world is that? What world
No.
are they living in?
Dude. Oh. So when they had an electrical problem and couldn't be at their home for a week, I did help them pay for a cheap motel, and I have gone to Aldi website to order and have some groceries delivered to them about 6 times just because I didn't want them to go hungry. They asked during the pandemic while mom and dad were taking care of their hospital bills while I was helping them out. I didn't really have extra to spare, but hey, I didn't want them to be on the street or go hungry. So now my sister expects me to buy their groceries every week. Let's take a quick pause here. So I feel like we've gotten a pretty decent picture in unfortunate detail. What do we do here, Dakota? Now she is now asking for, we did the nice thing, the thing that we didn't have money for. We just, maybe we lost money that month, but we're like, hey, whatever, dipped it to our savings to help you. Now she wants it every month.
I would go with the, hey, tell me what an honest day-to-day is, and if you can't be honest with me, I'm not even going to entertain this. If you cannot be real with me, and we cannot have a frank discussion about what's wrong with your life, because there are things that have gone wrong that now need to be addressed and changed, like maybe your husband, who's jobless and sleeps all day.
Do we go low or no contact yet at this point, at this juncture?
I would probably say like maybe low. I definitely
Lower.
wouldn't go out of my way to include this person.
Yeah.
But like, clearly they haven't changed at all for 15 plus years.
Indeed.
So
Yep.
sounds like they've just been trying to live life on easy street their whole life. Oh, I've got $7,000. I can make that last for the year. That's unhinged. That is truly the most.
Ben spins it in a
An
month.
alien comes down to Earth, and even that alien knows it was $7,000. Is it going to last a year on this planet?
Well, we get to discover what does actually happen. Mind you, they all eat way too much. And for 3 people, the bill meal from Aldi is about $175 a week, and that place is cheap, okay? I kept saying no, and I kept getting called a heartless bee. She also thinks that I'm jealous of her and her husband because I am not married. Their relationship... Yeah. Yep. Their relationship is a mess, and there's nothing to be jealous of anyways. But you know what you should be jealous of?
Yeah, I do, but I'll pretend like I don't.
Is the fact that there's people who already know that you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime and listen to thousands of hours of episodes of stories just like this. But Dakota, could you give us some final thoughts here before we reach this climax?
Honestly, as soon as she's like, "You're heartless," I'd be like, well, you want to see heartless? Goodbye forever. Literally, you've been trying to mooch off of me my whole life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm heartless now?
Yeah.
And be like,
Goodbye.
you're poor.
Yeah, I bought your groceries when I didn't have extra money for it.
Yeah.
Is that heartless?
Yeah, now you're trying to throw your bum husband in my face. Like what? Like that's an accomplishment that you have.
She's got nothing else, bro. She's got 13 sick cats.
You've got, yeah, and by the way, those cats need to be rehomed. You can't be taking care of 13 cats. Like what? I understand now, probably not wanting to get the authorities involved, but you're at the point where it's like they might get involved. And I bet you your mysteriously unemployed husband might not like authorities being around. I can't imagine why.
Well, you know what? Let's end this travesty. Let's see where we land. Let's see where the dust settles.
I bet, is it jail?
Could be. We still have a little story left. Sorry this is so long. I just had to get all of us off my chest. I have not helped her out in 6 months and have blocked her, but she still calls on the landline that my parents have insisted on keeping. Come on, guys. It's 2025. I am not complaining here, more like venting because I know others deal with this. The part that bothers me the most is how did she end up so entitled when my parents aren't and didn't treat her in any way that would make her entitled. They encouraged her with hard work and independence. My parents, after saying hi and good to know you're still alive, hung up on her now too. So basically the conclusion was everyone's essentially no contact, which I think at least like low contact until you can prove you're not cuckoo for Cocoa
Yeah,
Puffs.
until they're like reincarnated into their next life, and then I guess maybe have a chance at becoming a different person.
Reincarnated! That's what has to happen. My cousin keeps trying to steal everything I have, and my aunt is condoning her.
Ooh, the aunt's like, I would also like free belongings, please.
Yeah, you heard that right. My entitled cousin, who we will call Faith, tried to take everything I ever had. And she loves my entitled aunt, like adores her so much that Faith would do anything to please her. By the way, this comes from Cool Sharp on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So she was very special, to say the least. My aunt adopted a girl who grew up to literally be like the mini version of my aunt. She was rude, mean, extremely demanding, and her favorite line was, "You can't hurt me, we're family." I never really paid attention to her, nor really liked her at all. She was a spoiled brat. My cousin, I dubbed thee Lucas, ignored her. Lucas was never neglected though, because our grandma was the one taking care of him the most, while our aunt, Brittany, because I hate that name, no offense to Brittany's out there, doted and adored her. Dude, Brittany's just catching shrapnel out here. What's going on? I made a story about my entitled aunt who treats me like a slave in another story. Not gonna lie, I wrote it badly. I'm surprised it got so much support. Like, thank you guys. And real quick to clarify, my entitled aunt is Aunt Brittany.
Aunt Brittany.
My entitled cousin is Faith.
Cousin Faith.
Best cousin ever is Lucas. And I'll go ahead and go by my username, Cool Sharp. And my boyfriend will be called Thomas for the story. I was 17 at the time, and it was Christmas. I worked 2 part-time jobs in order to make my own money and be able to afford all the gifts that I got for my family and my boyfriend. We were all at my aunt's place for this Christmas. Some days were good, other days were bad, but it all got worse when my family adopted Faith. She hated me with a burning passion. First day I met her, I was cuddling with my boyfriend on the couch, and her, my aunt and grandmother, and Lucas all came over for Thanksgiving about 2 years ago. I stood up and greeted her nicely, of course, saying, "Hello, I'm Cool Sharp. You must be my new cousin." I tried to shake her hand, but she ignored me. She just told me to not wear those disgusting rags and walked off.
Oh yeah, dude.
Now, on Brittany spoiled Faith with literally everything. She got her first phone at 6. Nearly every single Barbie doll, expensive clothes, got her first credit card at the age of 10 years old.
What?
10 years old, guys.
No.
Crazy.
That's a red flag in my opinion.
That is a red flag.
What does a 10-year-old have to do with a credit card?
And she didn't have to break a sweat. She's younger than I was, only by a year, but she tries to act so high up. Christmas was the best day. What better day than to spend time with your loved ones, including Faith and Aunt Brittany and your own boyfriend? I pulled into her driveway, my mother beside me in the passenger seat, and my father and boyfriend in the backseat of the car. I hopped out, I grabbed the honey roasted ham, and locked up as everyone shuffled their way into the house. Grandma had her arms wide open. Lucas was bugging me to hurry up. As I tried to catch up and not drop the ham, a high-pitched "Helm! Helm!"
I think it's more of a
You're totally right.
but you did have you came in hard with
I brought the energy.
You know why? It's because you're in the
Wrong
race jacket, so you sounded like a race car.
Just turn left.
Another left turn. That's me. So the loud pitch caught my attention. This is the conversation that followed.
Why are you in those rags?
Rags? Oh, you mean my new clothes? Wow, this script is so fitting. I tried to walk into the house because it was quite chilly, but then she stopped me.
Listen, Cool Sharp, my aunt told me that since we're cousins, I get to have what you got.
Me dumbfounded. What? She's joking, right?
Well, duh. We're both girls, and out of us, I'm probably the best looking one, so we should share. I can even give you tips on how to
I
dress.
shuffled past her and jumped into the house because it was freezing, worried I would give away my prized new jacket. That was me. I gave the ham to my father, took off my jacket.
I'm sorry. Just the phrase I
Jesus, John.
I gave the ham to my father, took off my jacket. Yes.
He has to wear it now because it's part of the story. I took off my jacket, hat, gloves, and boots, and I hung up my car keys and went into the living room. A few hours passed. I, my boyfriend, and my family all sat down together, talking and chatting and just enjoying the time until I heard a sudden screech coming from the inside. I hopped up and sprinted, pushing the screen door, and I saw my aunt smugly watching as my cousin Faith tried to drive my car.
Vroom, vroom.
It's almost as if Faith thinks she's some sort of race car driver now, you know? What would make her think that?
I'm sorry.
Maybe from my cool jacket.
Oh, why does Dakota look like LL Cool J right now?
I look like LL Cool J.
Yeah,
I look like LL Cool J.
You look like 90s LL Cool J.
I think the bucket hat is what pulls that one
yeah, the
together.
bucket-
bucket
bucket's
hat,
selling
it's
it.
the fit, everything.
The fit too.
The fit, that's why. The jacket and like
Let me put the hood up.
the hoodie.
There we go.
My name's LL Cool J, and I'm here to say
Yep.
I am a cool guy in every way.
Yep.
All right.
LL Cool J is now Faith in the story. So LL Cool J took the car. So I hopped out, not caring about the cold, and stormed up to my aunt. Me. What? Okay. Now you're gonna be Brittany.
Okay.
So me. What do you think you're doing? I snapped at her, trying not to fume.
Oh, well, Faith wanted to try to drive, so I told her to get your car keys and she can drive your car.
Me, annoyed. I never gave her permission. Now tell her to get out.
Honey,
I hate when she tries to talk all sweet to me.
you should share your stuff with her. It's just her by herself with her brother, Lucas.
Like the accent change. I ignored her and stormed up to Faith. She drove off the driveway and into the snowy sidewalks and got my car stuck. I told her to get out of my car or else. She got out looking smug as ever and threw her keys at me.
Oh, no.
I have no keys to throw.
Please don't throw your keys at me.
I throw him a key on and bounce off his cakes.
Oh, I didn't even like your trash car anyways.
and stormed off, complaining to Brittany that I wasn't being nice and that I was rude to her. I huffed and called out for some help. Me and my family got my car unstuck, luckily, but what was beginning to piss me off now was that she tried going after my boyfriend. She was standing close to him, laughing, smiling, playfully hitting him.
Playfully.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Once he saw me, he got away from Faith and went straight towards me. I told Thomas to stay inside, the boyfriend, and I confronted Faith. Me, visibly angry. What the heck do you think you're doing?
Why I was talking to Thomas. He's so sweet, and I
stopped her. Beyond angry. I'm very protective over my boyfriend, and I get jealous easily. Don't talk to him. Don't try and touch him. Don't stand near him. Got it? I was pissed.
And what are you gonna do about it? And why did Thomas even choose you? You are a pig compared to me.
Me desperately trying not to scream. At least I don't squeal like one when I don't get my way. And I stormed away. Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
That's right.
I'm not even Faith, and now I'm mad. Whoa. Nuh-uh.
Boom.
You
Got
can't
it.
mic drop me on that.
Gotcha. Hey,
Squeal like a little pig.
you steal my jacket, I have to call you a squealy pig. That's the rules. That's the rules.
It's the price I pay for drip.
Now, throughout my stay, over and over, Faith tried being and getting close to my boyfriend. And multiple times, she took my car without permission and drove it around. It was so incredibly frustrating. I was going to go out and get a few more presents in the stores. So I grabbed my car keys and then looked into my wallet to see how much cash I had saved up. I grabbed my car keys, then looked in my wallet to try and see how much cash I had saved up. It's empty. My wallet had no cash in it. Confused, I checked my pockets, checked my jacket pockets, and the inside of my bag, but still no money. I asked my... Dude, you're very distressed over there. I asked my parents to what happened to my money in my wallet. They had no idea. I told them I somehow can't find my $200.
Where the heck's my $200?
A couple hours later, my aunt and cousin walked in holding bags of new clothes. Suspicious.
These are just blatant thieves. This is not cool at all. These people should be arrested.
I almost respect just how like evil they are and how just upfront they're just like, yeah, I'm just stealing your money and just like getting clothes with it.
We are actively thieving from you.
Like we're showing you to
Yes.
your face. You don't like it when I touch your boyfriend? I'm going to hug him all night. You don't like when I drive your car? I'm going to steal it 4 times an hour. A couple hours later, my aunt and cousin walked in holding bags of new clothes. I asked them, when did they get this? When did they go out? And it was right around the time I was trying to go out and get the rest of my gifts. Faith was looking at me snooty, her nose pointed in there, and she was grinning. Me, angry. Do you know what happened to my money?
No, Cool Sharp. But I did find $200 and it was so lucky of me. I decided to take my mother out for some shopping and look at all of the wonder.
I cut her off. Starting to feel my blood boil.
That's you.
Where was this $200 found? I was gritting my teeth.
Why? I found it in a bag. I don't know whose it was, but it sure was a lucky find.
As she made her way upstairs, I went after her, but my boyfriend stopped me.
Let it go. She's trying to get you to do something to her.
He grabbed both my shoulders as I squirmed. Wanting to fly upstairs, I literally socked my cousin in the face. Me, slightly yelling, I saved up that money so I can buy the rest of the gifts. She went through my bag and took my money, and my aunt doesn't even say an effing word. I was shaking with how selfish and entitled she is. Just because she's getting everything from her mom, she ain't getting jack from me. Thomas hugged me and told me to relax, that it'll be okay, and that I shouldn't be upset. But it got far, far worse.
No, like I don't know what I would do if I had that explanation given to me of like, yeah, I found it in someone's bag. It's like, yes, stupid. Was it yours? Are you crazy? Are you the dumbest person I've... Hello? It's like that would sound like a coconut, like banging together. It's just empty brain, nothing in there.
Dude, the other day, I walked outside, right, of the
Yeah.
studio, and I saw this like little car, was like kind of like kind of square shaped.
Yeah.
You know, it had this like name Dakota, you know,
Oh.
on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is just like a free car, just like sitting right outside.
Oh, the one that had my name on it.
Yeah, like it was like Dakota or something. So I like got in and I like found some keys like laying on the table. It was just like laying on the table. I was like, wow, this matches.
My keys, yeah.
And I just like took the car and it's a free car and it's great.
Oh, that makes sense because my car disappeared yesterday. That's totally fair, though. You had no idea that wasn't my car.
I mean, I found it.
You did it,
So,
which means
it was just
legally
sitting
it's
there.
yours
John,
now.
you're so lucky.
I'm-
You're the luckiest guy I know.
I'm so lucky, guys.
Yeah. What a lucky find.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's incorrect. That's not how the world works.
It's not? No?
It's not.
We don't roll around just playing finders keepers?
Fake freaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
So ever since Faith took my cash, she's been deliberately trying to get me to give her everything. And when she doesn't get her way, she screams for her mother saying,
Cool Sharp isn't letting me have this.
or
Mom, she isn't sharing her car with me.
then my parents would have to get involved and practically beat my aunt back to wherever she came from before Faith summoned her again. Wow.
Like, I just imagine, like, the Hydra, like, the Greek Hydra, where it just, like, it keeps spawning more heads as you cut them off. And it's just like, no, we have to just force it back to where it came from.
But I got so many heads and they're flying with two which and fro. So that Christmas week was the worst and I still remember it. I had a headache the entire time. No, I had an entire headache the entire time.
Ooh.
That's serious.
That is an entire headache.
I bit my tongue every time Faith asked me something that she wanted. On the last day of the week, my parents and boyfriend all scurried into the car. I could tell that my aunt hated the tension between me, my cousin, and my aunt. I was the last one saying bye to my grandma. She was the sweetest thing during the time I was there. And Lucas, who instead of a cousin, I'd like to call a brother.
Well, at least you got two good ones there.
Got two good ones. Not a family full of crazies. He was there for me too, and I made my way out before my aunt topped me on the shoulder.
Aren't she gonna say bye to me and your cousin? Like, how rude are you? God, I'm so glad I'm not you.
Me just wanting to leave. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And I walked away. By the way, you can never walk away from us.
That's right.
Do you want to know why?
I tell him.
Because if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast app and just search OK Storytime, there is an endless sea of content. You can literally never walk away from us again. You will just be walking through a forest of 1,900 podcast episodes.
Oh, yeah. You can't find the bottom.
Yeah. So go to Spotify, your favorite app, search OK Storytime. Check it out.
There
Come
it is.
hang with us.
Damn, did you just say we're bottomless?
We are bottomless,
Not
except
some
for
of us.
the cakes. The cakes. They're present. The cake is in this room with us as we speak.
I heard them spit rude things about me, saying how Thomas won't stay with me, how ugly and fat I am. You know, the usual girl bullying type of thing. I was sitting in the back of the car and with Thomas, as my dad was the one driving this time. As we pulled away, I saw both Faith and Aunt Brittany glaring at me. That's when I rolled down my window and flipped the frickin' bird. Caw-caw! Caw-caw! And we all drove home. Thanks for reading my story. I hope it's not too long, and I hope I didn't bore any of you. I will never, ever get over how stupid my aunt is, and now that she has a mini-me her, I gotta deal with her more. But thanks for reading. Even if you didn't like this, thanks for taking time to read my second encounter with my aunt and her little devil child.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. My flatmate almost burned down the apartment, then demanded I pay her fine.
It's the price of their mistakes.
So I moved to a new city to finish my bachelor's degree. This was the last semester, and I needed practical work to gain my last points. I landed a job in Oslo and found a nice place to live, sharing a flat with two people. By the way, this comes from Kakas92 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, me and the other girl had a lot in common. We both worked in the same field, her front of the house and security in some venues, and I worked as a lighting technician, freelancing in a few theaters as the temp. We got along so well that we decided to move out once our lease was up and rent another place together. Only the two of us, just the two of us. Around the same time, she got a new job and she could work from home and make her own hours. Since I was happy for her, she would be home way more than me. We would agree that she could have the biggest room and rent should still be split equally. A few months into the 3-year lease, she started to change. She got really self-centered and I couldn't stand to be around her. All of a sudden, she said things like, I'm better than you.
Oh.
My job is better than your job. I make at least twice what you make. You're a nobody and can't do anything for me. This ended in me not wanting to be around her, and I moved all my stuff into my room, only going out to use the kitchen and the bathroom. She also chose to spend thousands of dollars on new fancy dresses instead of paying me back $25 for the internet bill, saying she didn't think it was important to pay me back and new clothes were more important. Sorry for the long backstory, but I needed to give you an image of how EFM, entitled Flatmate, was as a person. During our last year living together, I was working myself hard. Normal hours for a tech in Norway is 35.5 hours a week, and I was working at least 80 hours for over 2 months with only 1 day off in that entire time span. That meant I was out the door before 7 a.m. and home after midnight. So I showered and went straight to bed. I was too tired to do anything else. One night, I dreamt of a car alarm, and it didn't stop. Then another sound chimes in, and wait, a doorbell. This didn't fit my dream, so I woke up. Indeed, someone was ringing our doorbell, and the fire alarm was going off in the building, central fire alarm. My eyes were groggy, and I went to open the door. It was 4 a.m., and this guy was looking at me. He didn't say a word, so I asked him, what's going on? Is it really burning? Remember, I've been working over 200% for 2 months. The guy just looked at me with a shocked face and said, girl, the alarm is going off from your apartment. This made me wake up. I looked around, and indeed, our entire apartment was covered in gray, thick smoke. I went to the kitchen, as I assumed my flatmate was cooking. No open flames, thankfully, and so I turned the oven off and opened it. Opened all the windows in the apartment before walking into Sleeping Beauty's, she is a beast, by the way, room. She had fallen asleep with a pizza in the oven, and now the fire department, police, and ambulance was on the spot. The police took statements, and the firemen looked in the oven and made sure all the windows were open. Things went on till 5 a.m., and she had to take the blame as it was her fault, or at least she took the blame. I was offered to be checked out by the ambulance personnel, since I had inhaled a lot of smoke, but I declined. Just wanted 1 more hour of sleep before I had to leave for another day of work. I was told to go to the ER if I felt any discomfort throughout the day, as smoke damages can occur late. That evening, mid-second shift, I started having problems breathing. Oh no. So I finished the show and my boss sent me off an hour early to go to the ER. I was quickly put on oxygen, not even 5 minutes after I arrived, and seen by a doctor 2 hours later. My throat was swollen from the smoke, but thankfully no lasting problems, and just 3 weeks of breathing heavily. No lifting. Remember, I'm a lighting technician. Heavy lifting is 60% of my job. My bosses were really nice about it, and I got to take it easy the next 3 weeks. Okay, that's good. That's good. After hours at work in the ER, I came home to entitled Flatmate. She demanded I pay half the fine she got from the fire department.
That's your fault. You have a crappy roommate.
Yeah. I mean, she could have unalived me. And now she's expecting me to pay $600. We were close. I exploded. To all of you wanting and dreaming about going off on entitled person, it felt amazing. I went on a heavily worded anger spree and told her she could have had me unalived. She could have burned the whole building down. She had my throat swollen, and she wanted me to pay $600, even after ranting on how much more money that she made than me, and that I was basically trash for making so much less than her. I basically told her to punch off. She stood there like an idiot, not knowing what to say as I went to the bedroom to try to calm down and get some sleep. Well, it's now 2 years later, and I'm glad I bought my own place. I'm never having a flatmate again. She has tried to reach out to me during this time, and I've just ignored her. She isn't worth my time. Darn tootin'. I have so many stories about this girl's entitled behavior since she got that new job. I believe you treat people the way you want to be treated, regardless of their work situation. Just because you got a better paid job doesn't mean you get to treat me like a cool guy. Just FYI, I love my work. I love being creative and making shows magical through lighting. I actually get to do my passion for a living. So I'm back again with another story about my entitled ex-flatmate. I'm now a 29-year-old woman who works as a lighting technician in Norway. At the time I lived with this girl, 6 years older than me, I only had a 50% steady job. The rest was on and off and seasonal. Welcome to the hard lifestyle of a TV, theater, and event technician. My last post was the last straw for me, since she had done this before, but that time I came home from work in time to stop the fire department from coming. I already answered some comments about leasing with her for 3 years. I know it's a long time. This was after we had already lived together as good friends for 3 years in another apartment. The only thing that changed was the fact that she got a new job and suddenly became too important to talk to people like me, commoners, as she could only talk to actors, filmmakers, and producers. She once told me that I was not allowed to go to a party for TV and theater workers because she might go. I can't with her. That's another story.
I hate that so
Dude, the
much.
posturing is
Like,
crazy. As said, we had a 3-year lease. It couldn't be broken with a 3 months notice, but we both were on the lease and she didn't want to. She had almost the entire flat to herself. I stayed in my room, yet paid half of everything. She had the living room almost all to herself. She often chose to sleep there instead of her own room. When we got close to the end of her lease, I tried to do the adult thing. I sat her down to talk to her about my plans moving out, and it went something like this. Me. I've been thinking about what to do once our lease is up, and I'm personally ready to buy my own place. My bank has approved my loan application. And entitled flatmate says, OMG, cool. Let's start looking at apartments. I will not live in an old one. It needs to be new. And as she went on, I was shocked. She thought I would buy it for us or with her. And me, I'm looking for an apartment for me. Entitled flatmate says, are you serious? You won't buy with me? What am I supposed to do then? You know what? It's fine. I make so much more money than you, so you will only be able to buy an old crap one. Mine will be so much better because I have standards. Me. Good for you. I got up and walked away. She was fuming since I didn't give her the answer or fight she wanted. By the way, you should give us the answer that we want by listening to our podcast that we release on every single day. And the great thing about a podcast is you can just put it in your ear holes and do other stuff. So a month later, I bought my first apartment. It's small and from the 50s, but it's mine. The payments go to building my own future instead of throwing money at a landlord, which we don't like to do. We like to build equity, baby.
It's true.
She happened to see some pictures of my apartment after I bought it. She came to me and told me how ugly and old it was, that she was going to live so much better than me. And me, this is what I say, well, that's your choice. I hear you're going to spend $1,500 a month to rent a high fashion apartment that's literally throwing money out the window, saying you want to buy your own ASAP. FYI, my apartment might be old and small, but my total a month is $1,000 with everything included.
I'll take that,
And
too.
most of it goes into my property, which will only increase in value. It's already gone up $50K in 1.5
Yeah,
years.
did you take that deal?
I take that deal.
I take that deal. It's a damn good deal.
That's a
It's
damn
a
good
damn
deal.
good deal.
a mighty
It's
fine
a
deal.
first-time apartment, and once I'm good and ready, I can sell it and buy a new one. That's called real estate investing. It's the smartest way of saving, in my opinion. Her face was priceless. She looked shocked, then mad, and entitled flatmate said, I'm going to live better than you. I couldn't help myself. I looked at her with a poker face and said the words that angered her more than anything. Good for you.
Indeed.
And I walked away while her head looked like it was about to blow off. She is still renting that place, telling me about it in messages I don't apply to. And that is where that story ends.
My friend's entitled mother ruined his marriage because he doesn't know how to say no.
No.
And that's the end of the story. Thanks, guys. We'll see you around.
Tutorial. A former friend had me fix his entitled mother's bike. She refused to pay for the repairs and mocked me.
Ouch.
This was originally going to just be one post that's part of a bigger story. However, when typing it, I realized it got too long. So I'm going to split it into 2 posts to make it easier and shorter by doing it in 2 halves. Thank you. And the entitled person I'm talking about is the mother of a guy that I'll call Fred, just because he was a Fred kind of guy. He's a big dude who worked in house construction and was married to a red-haired woman I'll call Wilma. You're not getting away with this, OP. I see what you're doing. By the way, this comes from the Flintstones. No, it comes from user Camaro Days 911 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we were all friends in high school, and Fred knew I liked fixing bikes in my spare time. He is a handy guy, but working on bicycles isn't really his forte, so he would call me for help, which I didn't really mind doing so long as he paid for the parts. I'd do favors for him, and he'd return them by helping me with things when I needed it. Back then, he was still an okay guy until he let his mother ruin his marriage. But that part will be in the next post.
Ah.
Fred's mother was always quite entitled, demanding pretty much anyone in her presence cater to her, and is a fitness junkie. I assume many of you were thinking of the little overweight Karen from Hex stereotype, but no, she is tall and thin, keeps very fit, her hair was perpetually in a ponytail, and her favorite clothing is black spandex. And to be clear, Karens come in all shapes and sizes. She still looked that way when I saw her about 6 months ago riding her bike. She's an avid cyclist who also demanded I fix her dang bike because Fred told her I liked to work on bikes. She had a bad accident and crashed her bike hard. She had a broken collarbone and plenty of scrapes and bruises.
Ooh.
Yikes, she's biking a little too hard.
Apparently.
The bike ended up gathering dust for months while she recovered, and for some reason she waited until she was all better before wanting to fix it. When she felt good enough to ride again, Fred recommended her to take the bike to me for repairs. They both showed up to my parents' house, where I keep most of my bike parts and projects, and just left the bike there with a letter for me saying to fix it immediately. Uh-huh. That's not how that...
Fix this immediately.
That's not how favors from friends works.
Fix it immediately.
For our listeners, John's holding a sword.
I'm wielding a sword. I'm sorry for visual humor.
No, it's okay. I like saying for all of our listeners because then it makes them show up to the chat.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. So they said to fix it immediately, but not spend much money doing so. The letter also said that she wanted the paint touched up. I don't remember the bike's brand, but it was a typical female frame 10-speed road bike from the 80s or so. Fred's mother had it since it was brand new. The crash had messed up her real derailleur, and chain was twisted beyond repair.
Oh, dear.
The derailleur was unsalvageable. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's very French. The derailleur...
The derailleur.
The derailleur was unsalvageable as parts of it were crushed and bent. That sounds like quitter talk to me. There was also bad paint scrapes on the paint on one side, so I replaced the broken parts with brand new ones and touched up the paint with some Blue Rust-Oleum I already had. The bike was already a plain blue in color and looked like it had already been partially repainted in some areas, so the blue of the touch-up paint was similar enough that it looked fine.
Oh, I see you.
I see you.
I see you.
I see you.
In the freaking comments,
I
boys.
See flippity you.
Oh.
I took the bike back to my apartment and fixed it in a day with ease. Humble flex.
Oh, God.
I'm a professional. Fred's mother, when she came for the bike, was pissed that I'd replaced the broken derailleur with a brand new generic one that was like $13. But functionally, it was the same. The bike was vintage, and she expected vintage parts only. But sourcing them is time-consuming and expensive. A direct OEM replacement for the original derailleur for the bike was around $40 to $50 used online, give or take. New old stock would have been even more expensive, and for either, I'd have to pay for it and wait for shipping. So a $13 derailleur that does all the same things worked fine. Okay, so a $13 derailleur that does all the same things worked fine, especially on the small budget I had for the repairs. The replacement chain was another $10. I also replaced her worn out and dry cracking tires for free with a set of used ones in really good shape I had on hand without her even asking, in part because those old tires were a hazard and possibly contributed to her prior accident. But she hated the new tires too because they were all black and didn't have beige sidewalls like the old ones did. She said the tires looked too modern on a classic bike. Parts and labor, I was only asking for $45.
Dude.
Fred's mother proceeded to tell me that I was an idiot after looking the bike over and refused to pay me on the grounds of substandard shoddy work.
Sue.
Yeah.
Take her to court.
Which, understandable. Your Honor, she hurt my feelings.
Dude.
Arrest her.
Your Honor, she's a freaking Karen. Throw her in prison for life.
Oh,
Throw her in prison for life, bro.
say less.
Dude, we need the
here's
Karen
the
life
bottomless
sentence.
pit, and it goes directly to Tartarus.
There we go.
Meet
the piggies.
Yes.
Nice, John.
Yes, indeed.
I did it.
Indeed.
Proud of you, John.
I think that substandard shoddy work was just code for thanks for fixing my ride, chump. Now I'm going to act like you did a terrible job and stiff you on the payment because I love to be a total B.
Yeah.
Fred was fairly nonchalant about it until he realized he had to pay in her stead because she just took her bike and rode off without paying me what she owed me. He rolled his eyes and handed me $50 and said he'd get the money back from his mom. His mother still rides that bike, and last I saw it, the bike still has the rear derailleur I put on it. But after that, B screwed me over. I refused to do any more work for her.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're...
Or him.
He's... You know,
I don't know, bro. He's been poisoned.
he's not married to his mom. She just,
Are you
popped
sure?
him out one day.
Are you sure about that?
Is that how
Are
it
you
works?
sure
Is
about
that how
that?
it works, Dakota?
Yeah, it's just like one day you... And then there you are.
I think we should poll it.
How does childbirth work?
What are we polling? What are we polling? What are we polling?
Fix.
Okay,
what is
good.
The name's this guy's. Who's the guy again? Mike. Michael.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yes.
Big
I
Mike.
believe his name is Mike.
Big Mike. Fix bikes. Fix
Yeah.
Mike's bike or not? Fix Mike's bike or not?
Like in the
I'm
future?
gonna put
In the
fixed
future.
bike.
Fix bike or not?
Yeah.
So are
Fix
we
bike or
cutting
not?
off
That's even
Mike
better.
and
Thank
his
you.
mom, or are we just cutting off his mom?
Bro, I think he's getting infected. I don't think
cut
we
off,
can
cut off mom, cut off
because
both.
you know what would happen.
Cut off mom for sure.
Mike comes, or we call him. She call him Fred. That's right, because of Fred Flintstone. I'm crazy.
Oh yeah, Fred.
I don't know what I'm talking
I'm
about.
also crazy, and I let you convince me
I
it was
literally
Mike. I was like, the
brainwashed
way
you
he said that, it's really
unintentionally.
feeling like his name's Mike. Maybe
But-
that's his real name.
Maybe.
She came back to me months later, groveling, begging. No, I'm just kidding. I added that. Wanting me to install some new wheels and tires that she'd ordered for free. She cited my previous screw up in her eyes, that my work was subpar, and that I owed it to her to put the new wheels on free of charge, which is the most Karen thing I could possibly think of. Doing that to your own son's friend.
Dude.
Being like, well, actually, I deserved compensation because your work was so bad. God, she's annoying.
Yeah. Pete Karen.
Oh, so, I told her to take her business elsewhere. She had to pay the bike shop to do any repairs after that. And not only do they charge nearly double what I do, but most work they do is in a few days to a week out because they are especially busy in summer. I'd have had that bike rolling the same day. She complained about me to whoever would listen and said I was being an a-hole who wouldn't do her any favors. More like I wouldn't do her bidding.
Ooh.
Yeah. The bike shop guys already knew the real story and told her she could take her business elsewhere if she didn't shut up because they like me over there. They told me later that they intentionally delayed her bike 2 days just because of what she did to me.
That's awesome.
Dude, yeah.
That's bad, but I like it.
Funny thing is, though, the bike shop gave me back the tires that I'd put on her bike and told me that the cheap Chinese knockoff tires she brought in for them to put on were pretty crappy compared to the ones I'd put on, which were apparently fairly expensive when brand new. But she just had to have her beige sidewalled tires, so whatever. I later put those tires on someone else's bike, and they paid me well for the job.
There we go.
Also, even though she beed about wanting only classic parts on the bike, she bought modern wheels for it. They looked similar enough, but it just showed how much of a hypocrite she really is. And there is an update. Shall we?
Wow.
We shall.
I have a bad ICU.
Ooh, I want to hear your conspiracy.
She's gonna ride on this bike, and the bike's gonna fail again. And it's, yeah,
and she's gonna not be pretty.
it's not gonna be pretty.
She's going to turn into the Wicked Witch of the East. Wait, which one's the bad one?
Bach.
Think I watch movies, bro? You think I watch? Yeah,
Bach is the bad one.
I already watched.
The King?
Huh?
Shh.
Don't worry. John, go ahead. You don't watch enough movies?
No. I don't watch movies.
Don't worry, John. I'll take you out to a movie someday.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we should all go see Nosferatu.
I'm down, actually. Can we do an okay, like...
Is that the old one or the
new one?
There's a new
The
one.
new
Can we do like a
one.
new one where all of us go
Like
see
the
a movie?
1911 classic film.
Which apparently is a banger. I have never seen it.
I heard it's really good.
My fiance's daughter accused me of marrying for financial motives. Now I don't care if she skips our wedding.
All the money is gone.
Yeah. First time poster, but I want to know if I'm the a-hole. This might be long. I apologize. I, 35 female, and my 47 male fiance have been together for going on 5 years. He proposed a little over a year ago, and we've been planning ever since. By the way, this comes from user Construction South 669, and you can submit your story to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. A little background: I have 2 children, 13 male and 10 female, from a previous relationship. My fiance has 2 children as well, P, 25 female, and A, 28 female. We're going to make that Priscilla and Aubrey, which I was incredibly close with both. My fiance has stepped up to help me raise my children in the best way possible. Their dad is active in their lives, and I pay their way for everything in our house. My fiance makes double what I do, so we worked out a system in the house with bills and such. I've never asked him to pay for anything for my children or myself, and have always been self-sufficient. My fiance is a wonderful man. We don't fight or argue and have an amazing relationship. We laugh, enjoy each other, and are genuinely happy. His daughters were very active with helping me plan the wedding. They were both supposed to be bridesmaids. I bought them each little gifts to ask them, and the gifts mirrored their interests. Daughter Aubrey has 4 children to 3 different men, with 1 on the way. We're all very active in the children's lives, and I love them as my own. Her and I were the closest out of the 2, and now I'm seeing that she was just using me to take her demon seeds off her hands, and used my love for them to use me. My bridal shower was 3 weeks ago. His daughters were supposed to come, and only Priscilla showed up. I figured Aubrey wasn't feeling good with the pregnancy and couldn't make it. I asked Priscilla where Aubrey was, and she got quiet. Priscilla proceeded to tell me that Aubrey doesn't believe her father is happy and wants me to get a prenup. I was shocked. Her father has a good job, but doesn't make enough to warrant a prenup. But if my fiance would ask, I would gladly sign it, since I've never relied on anyone for anything. I laughed it off, and Priscilla apologized and told me she knows her dad is happy, and everyone in their family likes me because they've never seen him this happy. I told her I loved her and I appreciated her coming, and figured I would deal with it later. We all had a great time and just enjoyed the day. I completely popped the prenup thought out of my mind and focused on planning the wedding, my full-time job, my children, daughter Priscilla, and my fiancé. Fast forward to this week. I have reached out to Aubrey numerous times with no response, same as her father. I'm not someone who lets people walk all over me, and I'm a lot worse when someone tries to walk all over my sweeter than sweet fiance. So I decided to drop by her apartment to have a conversation with her after work one day. She doesn't work, so I knew she would be home. I knocked, and she came to the door and asked what I wanted. I asked her if we could have a conversation, and she locked the screen door to protect herself. I would never harm my fiance's daughters, his grandchildren, or anyone else for that matter, so I was kind of blown away. I asked her what I could do to fix our relationship and what I did wrong. I kept getting different answers, and none of them sounded like an issue to me, but they might have been to her, so I just listened. She told me she thinks her dad's laugh is fake with me, and he's pretending he's happy, among other things. Then finally, a little truth came out after the back and forth. She told me that she didn't want me to live in the house her dad owns if something happens to him, and it should go to her. Then she decided to tell me the only reason she talked to me was because I would watch her demon seeds at the drop of a dime when she didn't feel like dealing with them. I told her I could give a crap about the house, and I wasn't with her father for his house. She told me that she didn't want me on his life insurance policy either. Here's the kicker with this. My fiance has a good job, but I work for the office of our state officials. I have a life insurance policy worth $250K, which $175 goes to my children. He has one for $50K, which goes to his kids. I don't care about anything he has. We've worked out the details of our finances and our living wills when we got engaged. His house is paid off. Our vehicles are paid off. I bought and paid for my car myself, so we have no debt. I sold my house that I bought and paid for and moved in with him which we are planning on investing that into property. She knows none of this because it's none of her business. But the fact is, neither of us are stupid with our money or finances, so I don't need his finances to survive. I told her I was a single mom for 6 years and had everything I did from working 2 jobs, and I'm not with him for any financial gain whatsoever. She told me she would not be attending our wedding. She didn't want anything to do with me. I came home and told my fiance, and he seems upset but not surprised. We're a month and a half away from the wedding, and I'm not worrying about her not coming or fixing whatever issue she has with me. Am I the a-hole? Clarification. Just want to clarify a few things quickly. My fiance and Aubrey had a strained relationship before I came along. She had stolen $1,500 from him and also opened an electric bill in his name and ran it up to $3,000. He noticed it on his credit report when he bought a new motorcycle, again, way before me. I was financially helping her with the kids, as she is now a single mom again, along with her maternal grandmother and her own mother as well. Priscilla has been paying her car payment for her recently. Aubrey lives in low-income housing, so she has no rent, and I also live in a state that they pay you to live there. I helped them mend their relationship, which was a task because I invited her to holidays and special occasions, which she refused to come to for the first year her dad and I were together. Her dad finally started reaching out to her, and she decided to come around. I have rental properties, as does he. They are separately owned. He has 6 and I have 2. The new properties we're investing in will be in both of our names, which the girls are set to inherit the 6 he has, and my children are set to inherit the 2 I have. The ones we own together will be split between all 4 kids when I pass. The girls are aware of this. They are also aware that when something happens to their father, we have an agreement that I stay here if I choose to. I don't even know if I will want to live here without him. I can't sell it, and it will be left to Priscilla. Thanks everyone for the kind words. My fiance is going to talk with her tomorrow while I'm out of town on a girls' trip. I will update everyone Sunday when I'm home. And we have the update right now.
Let's get into it.
Let's dive in. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. You are. I read that this is how you do it. You did. So if I'm doing it incorrectly, you're not. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm sorry I told everyone I would update them on Sunday, but after my girls' trip, I was feeling pretty tough. My fiance was going to speak to Aubrey on Saturday while I was gone. We spoke about the boundaries I have set in place, which he supports. I told him that I know him and Aubrey have been in no contact before because of the money that she stole, but I never wanted to be the reason they are no contact, and he agreed. Now, before I tell you about the conversation, I have to give you some context. M was in a very toxic relationship for 10 years, and they split a little over 2 years before he met me. The ex tried to contact him for 2 years into our relationship, with my fiance changing his number, putting up cameras around our house, and the last straw was getting a restraining order. Somehow the ex would get his new number and contact him prior to him getting a PFA, and we could never figure out how. She hasn't contacted him since the PFA, and it has been quiet. Another thing to note is that my fiance is 6'5" and weighs 240 pounds. He's fit and takes really good care of himself. I'm 5'9" and weigh 200 pounds and am chubby. This has never come up in our relationship, and my fiance has made sure that I know he loves every part of me. He always has dated short, skinny blondes. I'm sure it came as a shock when he got with a chubby, tall redhead, but the way he loves me is never in question. Now, the conversation. Aubrey told my fiance that she believes I have put a spell on him because he's never dated someone so huge before. Oh, so she's fat phobic. Dang, she sucks.
She's body shaming.
Yes.
And that's not good.
So this was her reasoning for mentioning she wants me to get a prenup. She then told him that she has been in contact with his ex throughout our entire relationship and has been trying to get him and his ex back together because she fits his body type?
Yo, you're out of here.
Why do you care so much who your dad's dating? Priscilla has told me how awful her dad's last relationship was and how her and him decided to go to therapy together once it was over, which my fiance had already told me about the relationship and the therapy. But I always let Priscilla vent to me about whatever she needed to, and most days it was about the ex and how bad and Aubrey hated her. Priscilla was so upset to find out that Aubrey had been in contact with the ex and that she gave the ex all of the new numbers. Priscilla and my fiance tried to reason with Aubrey and explained how shallow she sounds with Aubrey kicking them both out of her apartment. My fiance was devastated that anyone would look at my weight and consider me huge and not look at how wonderful of a person I am. Those are his words, not mine. Priscilla and fiance both decided to cut Aubrey off. Priscilla is no longer making payments on her vehicle, and my soon-to-be mother-in-law has cut ties with her as well. The days I didn't have the kids, my fiance's mother did. Priscilla called me about 40 minutes ago to tell me that CPS is at Aubrey's because the neighbor called them on her. The neighbor called Priscilla to tell her that she was worried for the kids' safety and felt obligated to call. My fiance has contacted the fathers and told them they have our support with whatever they decide to do. I also talked to fiance about maybe taking the kids if the fathers decide they don't want them, and he agreed. And by the way, I agree that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this.
I agree too.
All you have to do is go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from and search OK Storytime. Really quick before we finish this, I think we're all in consensus here on who the a-hole is.
Oh, 100%.
It's crazy though that Aubrey was being this so nasty, and people are helping her pay her rent. People are helping her pay her car bills. People are helping her take care of her kids.
Still being nasty.
And she's just an entitled piece of crap person. The fathers of the children are all very good men with good jobs to be able to support the kids. My fiance has maintained a good relationship with the fathers over the years for the kids. The fathers all have 50-50 custody, so birthday parties and things were usually combined. I'll update again if anything else happens. At this point, I'm just hoping Aubrey gets some much needed therapy and the help that she needs. Thank you all for the support. Also for the well wishes. I appreciate you all so much. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope everybody gets the help they need. Aubrey clearly needs help. The kids need help.
Good on OP to be like, with everything that went through, she's still like, Aubrey needs help.
Yeah, that is the end of that story.
My husband's ex-wife demanded I sell my house so we could buy her a new one.
I mean, it's only fair.
She's mathing, bro. Throwaway account. I, 32 female, have been married to a 40 male for 2 years. He brought 2 kids into the marriage, and I have one of my own. Total 3. We don't have any children together. By the way, this comes from Frosty Tier 3788 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my husband was previously married and has been divorced for about a decade. His kids live with their mother nearby, 20 minutes away. Initially, she showed some pretty petty behavior, but nothing major. She's very entitled and judgmental. She often made snide remarks about me working too much, etc. She would make contrasting statements about me and my husband's marriage compared to hers, to the point where one day I told her that her relationship with my husband was over and she needed to move on. My husband backed me up and she stopped her ways. I honestly don't think she is over him, but that has nothing to do with me. She's unemployed since getting fired 15 years ago.
Whoa.
And relies on her kids to get more time and money from my husband.
Dude, that's so whack.
She's been unwell lately, not maintaining her health effectively, and have been using her condition to collect sympathy points from my husband, asking him to be there at doctor appointments. Of course, to watch the kids while she's there, asking him for rides constantly because she doesn't feel safe driving. She's always wanted to tag along when we take the kids out. She has a boyfriend, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like this. It's like, you need to drive, you need someone to give you a ride because you don't feel safe driving. Hey, Uber, Lyft. Oh, I can't afford that. Get a job. It's been 15 years.
Lately, she's been suggesting to my husband that she isn't well enough to take care of her children. Right now, they have shared custody and they are with us every other weekend and during school vacations. She told my husband I should sell my house, which I bought before we met, to downgrade and buy a smaller home and to build her a tiny house on the land close to us to provide more support for her and the kids.
Excuse me?
The level of entitlement you have here. Why do you think you deserve all this?
Something doesn't add up here, because how is she's jobless for 15 years?
Yeah.
How does she have the primary custody of those kids with no job for 15 years?
Ooh, yeah.
There's got to be something else there.
I don't know, dude. I was flabbergasted that he would even mention this to me. I couldn't understand why he needed to sell my house to accommodate her. I offered to have the kids live with us, but she declined, stating that she prefers to stay close to the kids and doesn't trust us to raise them.
Dude.
She has a boyfriend and a family nearby, but insists on receiving care only from us.
Dude.
Even saying that my husband made vows to her before he made vows to me.
Dude, that is okay. You said earlier you think she's still not over your husband? Bro, she just threw their wedding vows back in your face, OP.
What the heck, dude? I feel totally disrespected. Don't want to sell my house and don't want to have a grown woman freeloading off of me. I believe she should rely on her existing support system.
Boom.
Yeah, that
Correct.
makes total sense. Some of my in-laws say I'm just being selfish and don't need such a big house anyways. My husband hasn't expressed anything either way, which is annoying. I want to stand my ground, but I'm starting to feel like an a-hole because she is sick. Updates! Thanks, everyone. I think I need to stand my ground here. I'll speak with him tonight and we'll update. I'm really tired of his ex and don't think she should be the main character in our lives anymore. I want to put this here because a lot of people have been asking why my husband won't speak up. This was my response to post. He says he doesn't want to be a deadbeat father because his father was, and she often threatens to not allow him to see them.
How does she have that power though? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know.
It doesn't sound like she should be able to like throw threats around like that.
I don't understand either. Even at our wedding, she would not allow the kids to be there unless she was also invited. And we have an update. I spoke to my husband and told him that there was absolutely no way I was going to sell my house. I told him my house was an investment that I plan to one day pass it to my children as an asset. That he and his parents and his ex are dead wrong for suggesting I sell it. I said if his parents have something to say, then they can build a tiny home for her on their 10 acres of land. He agreed and said he's been feeling bad that he was entertaining the idea, but his ex was guilting him because of her condition. She has MS. I told him that he will no longer be supplementing her lifestyle and no more running errands. I'm his wife and I should be priority. I told him that he has to call her in front of me and tell her this. He called her and told her that he will no longer be used as a placeholder for her boyfriend and she needed to stop trying to manipulate everyone. She said it was unfortunate that I was acting insecure and that I was interfering with her healthy co-parenting relationship. She said I was young and immature and should consider their kids, and she knew that this would happen one day.
Well, I mean, of course it's going to happen one day when you're just like a overbearing, demanding person who's like, by the way, the kids can't go anywhere without me.
Yeah.
And by the way, the kids can't do this without me or do that without me, blah, 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 blah.
I told her that she needs to get off her lazy butt and take care of herself and her kids and stop freeloading off everyone. I told her that she needed to be focusing on her attention on her current relationship because that is her best shot at a decent future because we are pulling back effective immediately. She immediately started crying and said that she was feeling sick and needs to go to the emergency room.
Oh no.
And needed to end the conversation to protect herself and her health.
Dude, I hate being the guy. I don't want to be the guy who calls out the person with chronic illness, but like it really reads like she's hiding behind her chronic illness as a get out of jail free card for whenever she is pressed to a point of no return.
And we couldn't really get into outlining all of the boundaries before she just hung up and blocked both of us. Wow, she really is hiding behind it. I typed out an email and copied all parties involved and sent it to her. I'm so mad right now. I'm seeing red. And if you want to see red from the OK Storytime members, come and join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Come on.
We might be live right now.
I want to provide clarity. She was recently diagnosed maybe a year ago.
Okay, so I'm backtracking immediately to why didn't you have a job for the 14 years before you were diagnosed with MS?
She has been manipulating since I met her, but has been more invasive after her diagnosis. She has been out of work for 15 years, which is the only reason I call her lazy. She was on every government subsidy we could get her on. I helped facilitate this when she was diagnosed, but she keeps wanting and expecting more. I admit I felt bad for her for a long time, which is why I let it go on for so long, but asking me to sell my house is beyond my limit. She has been diagnosed with this for a year, but has been milking it. Seems like
immediately started milking it. And, it can progress at different rates, but like regardless, not having a job for 14 years, I think paints the perfect picture of like what kind of person she is.
Yeah, yeah,
If she can float by on something, if she can coast on something, she'll do it.
yeah.
And as soon as she got this diagnosis, which is not good, it's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But she also saw the other side of that, which is, I can weaponize this.
Yeah,
It's my opportunity to, now I have the ultimate get out of jail free card, which is I have MS.
yeah.
You have to give me a ride because I have MS.
That is gross. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's see the story and episode.
Oh, well, so if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
My sister stole my baby name because she knows I can't conceive.
Wow.
Just because I can't nut doesn't mean you get to steal something from me.
Let's start this off from the beginning. I, 26 female, have been trying to get pregnant for 5 to 6 years with no luck. I've watched so many people I know and love have a baby or multiple babies, most of which were not planned or even wanting kids prior to having them.
Oh.
Just take those kids. It stung a little to see these people so easily have something my husband and I have wanted for a while now, but nonetheless, I was always excited and supportive of them. By the way, this comes from Tired of Me Too, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my sister lived a few hours away from me for a while, so we didn't really see each other often and lived our separate lives. Still talked from time to time to send some love and would go visit each other every now and then. In the past year, her ex and her broke up and she needed to move home. She was heartbroken and was just trying to mend herself back up. We got close again, of course, still fighting as sisters do. But she knew she could rely on me. I talked to her a lot about wanting a baby and the struggles it's been for me. I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and have done some fertility treatments. I had to stop because it was taking a toll on my mental health. She had told me numerous times that she did not want children ever. I knew that part of her was just blowing steam because she had a traumatic experience with pregnancy before. And I knew that someday she would make a great mom. However, if she didn't want kids, then I supported that too. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
During this time, my sister was out having fun in her life again and dating around. She found a guy that she fell in love with quickly, and the relationship was beyond toxic.
Why do we fall in love quickly with the toxic people, guys? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Best way to sum up the relationship was high school relationships. She found out that he cheated on her and she left him. In her new heartbreak, she came over to my house and vented and had mentioned that she had little signs that she could be pregnant, but kind of giggled off like she knew she wasn't. She started to see this guy again, but kept it from the family because none of us liked him to begin with, but definitely didn't like him when we found out he cheated.
Oh, God.
We all knew she would go back, though, and you can't tell a grown woman what to do. Sister, 30 female. Month and a half goes by, and we hadn't seen each other in a bit. She asked me how I was, and I told her, feeling pretty depressed and all around crappy in life. Then she says, well, I can make you not depressed, and pulls out a picture of a sonogram, which seems like it would probably make OP more depressed.
That was literally going to accomplish the opposite of what you just said. Definitely.
I was excited for her, but feeling pretty low in life and said, oh my God, congratulations. You're going to be an amazing mom. But no, I was not jumping up and down for joy.
Oh.
Mainly because I was sad that she was, in a sense, stuck to a man she had only known for 8 months that had already betrayed her. She didn't like my response and said, well, that's not the response I was looking for. So I asked her what response she wanted. She told me she thought I'd be crying. Wait, like in a good way?
I'm so happy.
Or did you want her to cry in like a sad way?
I think like a happy way, but
I told her I was excited for her and couldn't wait to be an aunt. I didn't really know what else to say to that. We started talking about what gender she was hoping for and cute names. I told her in a playful way, if you have a girl though, just don't name her Sky. Sky is not the actual name that I want, but I don't want my sister to see this and connect the dots.
It's probably River.
Yeah.
Because they're both blue and she wanted something that is opposite of River, so that's Sky. Hear me out. We live in 2024, 2025. Everyone's kids is named River. Or Rowan, water related.
Yeah.
Or Lily.
Lily.
Come on, think about it.
My cousin's name is Lily.
See? Exhibit A.
Yep.
There you go. She laughed and started saying other names she liked, and we ended the conversation on that. Some context to the name ordeal. As far back as I can remember from childhood, I had a unique name that I loved for a baby girl and told everyone it. For years, even before I started to try for a baby, anyone that I talked to about children, I told them that if I ever had a girl, this would be the name. This was something that many people in my life could attest to. And to sum it up, it basically was a well-known fact with anyone who I was close with. I know I don't own the name, and other people can use it, and I know it's my own fault for oversharing the name, but it's a name I'm passionate about and always have been.
Trademark it. Make it illegal for mothers to name their babies this name.
Yeah. Do what the
From
rich
now
people do.
on, I decree this is my name for perpetuity.
Want to use Sky? $1 billion per baby.
Jump a few months in, and I'm at my mom's house, and we're talking. My mom says to me, your sister the other day was talking about baby names with me, and she said if she has a girl, she wants to make her Sky. My mouth dropped because my sister knew dang well that this name meant something to me, and even though I don't have children yet, if I ever had a girl, that would be her name. My mom then finishes it with, but I told her not to do that because that's the name you always wanted for a girl. Props to mom. W mom.
W.
Love it.
W.
I was pissed. I am excited to be an auntie, and I know my sister will be an amazing mother, but as my sister, I think that was a really low comment. My mom told me not to say anything to her because my sister has a tendency to want attention and to compete with people, especially me. Yeah, well, she's stealing your name. I feel like she did want her to cry, OP to cry in like a sad way. I feel like she was trying to do that.
Yeah. That's what she actually wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I kept my distance from her and kept my mouth shut out of respect to my mom because I know my sister would have turned it into a battle between my mom, her, and myself. I was and am way too drained in this life to deal with bad blood. I also found out later that she was having a boy, so in my head, it was a little bit of karma going her way. Oh, so she can't even name the kid this.
Or does she do it instead?
Sky doesn't work because that can be a man's name.
But it was also,
What?
She said that was a fake name.
Sky.
Sky could be a dude's name?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of, there's like multiple actors named Sky.
Name one.
He was Sky from the
Name
Pitch
one.
Perfect. He plays the love interest.
Okay.
There's also Sky from Mamma Mia. Also plays the love interest.
A lot of love interest in
That's
this
all.
guy.
That's all
Sky?
the Skies I know.
Yeah.
All right.
I talked to a few different people about this, and most agreed with me that it was a jerk move to even say that she was going to name her baby the name I always wanted. My best friend even said, put aside the fact that you've been trying for years, even if you weren't. This was a name you've wanted forever, and she knew that. One of my grandmothers said, who cares if she wants to name her baby that? Graham, woman, 84 years old.
Yeah, she's about to die. She's just like, come
Who cares
on.
if she wants to name her baby that? Who cares about anything you say, Grandma?
Just let her do anything she wants, and if she hurts you, you just gotta take it, because that's just
take it.
Unlike you, the baby's going to be living for like 100 more years, so.
And then my grandma proceeded to tell me that before my sister was pregnant, she was telling her that she wanted a baby, but felt like she couldn't because everyone knew that I was trying. Then after finding out she was pregnant, telling her that she felt so bad because she was and I wasn't.
Grandma, shut up.
Okay? Grandma, mind your own business.
Spit your dentures out.
Mind your
You're
own
done.
freaking business. I was talking to my other Gram, Marjorie, 80 years old, and she told me that my sister said the same things to her before and after she was pregnant. Why is everyone chatting with the Grams? Graham M told me that Marjorie told me that it wasn't very nice of her to do that, but you can't pick others' behavior. Okay, so you have one good grandma. That's good.
One.
And also, you got multiple thousands, if you will, of episodes that are also good. If you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Yep.
or your favorite podcast app, search up OK Story Time. Woo! Doot, doot, doot. I love my sister and I am very excited for her and to be an auntie. I have not said anything to her about this and probably never will. She got the cutest baby bump and I hope she allows me to be there for her and my nephew when he arrives. It doesn't upset me when people I care about get pregnant, but of course I'm going to be envious of them as I think most women would. I know this was extremely long and all over the place, but am I the a-hole for being hurt by my sister saying she was going to use the baby name I've always wanted? And comments to finish this story off.
Comments.
1, she didn't like your positive response because she wanted you to cry at her news.
Ooh.
She wanted you to be upset that she was pregnant and was mad that you didn't act that way. I really hope you get your chance to be a mom. What helped 2 of my friends get pregnant was adopting a baby first. That's the way it works sometimes.
Whoa.
Another friend was going through a private adoption of an unborn baby, and when she found out she was pregnant, didn't want to cancel the adoption for fear of another miscarriage. That's how her kids are about 6 months apart in age.
Love that.
And Opie says, that's kind of how I felt when she said that to me. I am truly excited for her and myself because I'm getting to officially be an auntie. Just wasn't sure exactly how to take it. I go out of my way to make sure there is no confrontation between me and my sister, and I try to just play it off the best way that I could while being supportive of her. My husband and I have talked a lot about this and have agreed that if we're not able to naturally conceive, then one day we will be parents to a beautiful child and give them all that we want. Comment 2 says, not the a-hole, but think your sister will need you soon. Her relationship isn't the best, and I can't see it surviving a child. Watch out for her trying to get you babysitting all the time. I imagine she will take advantage. Good luck on your journey. I hope you get the child you deserve too. And Opie says, thank you for this. I appreciate your kind words. I will definitely be there for her, but also create healthy boundaries. I think that's smart.
We love healthy boundaries.
I have noticed her boyfriend being a little better this time around than before they broke up. So I hope he continues to do right by both her and my nephew. And that, my friends, is the end of this story and this episode.
Whoa.
And the stream.
Wow.
Do you have any final thoughts?
You know, I think OP, keep that good head on your shoulders and just keep moving through life and focus on the positives of being an auntie, maybe looking into adoption yourself if that feels good, you know, and don't listen to the haters, specifically
your grandma.
Your freaking grandma. Grandma can
the
fall
biggest
in a
hater
hole.
of all.
Yep.
Yeah.
She probably will soon.
she
dang.
ain't got much longer anyways. But yeah.
But yeah, just tell your sister how it is, man.
That's right.